Hello, everyone. What's going on? My name is Timpedia, and welcome back to the TNT Podcast, episode 190. We're going to try this again.
Yeah, don't need any guest appearances in the
No more
opening
guest
scene.
appearances when my son opens the office door. But on my right,
It's Friedman, also known as Andrew, but mostly known as Friedman.
and on my left.
Just Tyler, only Tyler. All right, can we get back to what we were
Yes.
doing? We had
So-
to.
Yeah, sorry, listeners,
so
we're
we
going
have-
to speedrun the
Sorry,
conversation.
we only were a minute in, but we had a bunch of... So we're going to get to some Magic the Gathering news.
Classic.
So, like 4 years ago, almost at this point, Wizards announced, "Oh, hey, the Russo brothers are working on a Magic the Gathering animated show for Netflix." And we haven't heard a peep about it outside of Mark Rosewater. You know, sometimes people would ask him on his blog, "Hey, is this show still alive?" And he would go, "Yep, I work on the like advisory committee from inside Wizards or something like that." And everyone and nothing. Then, like a week ago, I think it was the voice actor for Gideon in an interview goes, "Oh yeah, they got rid of everybody. Like the show's canned. The show's done." And everyone goes, "Oh, well that sucks, but hey, at least we got official confirmation that it's actually dead."
Yeah, I didn't even know they'd cast voice actors for it.
Yeah,
already.
I didn't know either. I didn't know any. I'm sure there were people who did know, but I didn't know anything. Then like less than 48 hours later, some Netflix fan account or from like a Netflix fan event tweets out an image of a Johnny and Chandra saying, "Netflix is working on the Magic the Gathering animated TV show." And everyone's like, "What?" And it's like, "Yeah, this is a new show that's happening." And it's like the question mark pings start going all up in the air, but like, yeah, apparently that other show might have died at some point, and now they're just announcing a new show. It's like a whole... It almost seems like they threw out the original team who was working on the original show, and now are just restarting with a whole new team.
Well, I was going to say, they threw out the team of characters because Magic has moved on so far since then that they may not want to tell the original story they were going to do.
Oh, they can't. I mean, think about how many... We get 4 big story sets in a year.
Yeah, it's
Like-
several of the main cast is either dead or just not characters anymore.
The War of the Phyrexian War is over. Like there are a quarter as many planeswalkers as there used to be. So, yeah, it was just wild to see this. It was literally like if we had recorded the podcast last week, we probably would have had the story about it being dead. And then this week or next podcast would have been talking about it. But now that we skipped last week, we can talk about how it died and then came back immediately.
Yeah, just how the tales of its death were greatly exaggerated.
I mean, I'm kind of curious what they do, but I don't put a lot of stock in this. You know, Magic the Gathering's like some of their stories are quite good, but a lot of the times when in the last few years when they've gone for bigger things, it's really kind of fallen flat. I know one of the novels for War of the Spark, like that Forspoken was the terrible game. Forsaken.
No, I was gonna say.
There was like a novel called Forsaken that was supposed to be not like pretty bad and very contradictory to the story that was online. Honestly, a lot of the set trailers, Friedman, I think we both agree, a lot of the animated trailers have been kind of meh ever since that amazing War of the Spark trailer.
Yeah, they're definitely creative, but not all of them are that good.
I don't even know if I'd call them that creative in a lot of places even.
Like, I remember the Ikoria one just being like straight up bad.
Oh my god. Wasn't that what was the song? I can't even remember. They had Vivian and it was just like... Oh no, it was the Shrek song. I don't give a damn. I think it was that, right?
Yes, that was the one.
Yeah.
Was that after Shrek?
They did like the Kaldheim one, which was nothing, and like Duskmourn was like kind of weird. There wasn't much for Duskmourn. Bloomborough was kind of eh. But anyway, I'm interested to see because there are stories like the short stories. Some of them are really good. Like I read one of the Duskmourn side stories about how the house becomes the plane, and it's fucking creepy. And like a lot of the thematics of Magic Planes are really strong. Some of them are not.
I have low expectations of the story, but like not gonna lie, it's gotta capture me visually.
Yeah, if it looks good, I don't care.
Magic story will be good.
Yeah. Like, let's not... We'll get to it later, but let's not act like Castlevania Nocturne was, like, the peak of storytelling, especially compared to...
Because I didn't finish that shit.
Yeah.
Damn, wow. Well,
And I'm probably not going to.
Damn.
Understandable.
No.
Not the only thing I'm
it's so
DNFing.
cool.
Actually understandable. As someone who likes Nocturne, I don't really like the characters all that much.
I think Richter's cool. Okay, we'll get to that anyway. I didn't mean to distract us. I just
Richter's cool.
I mean, he's not Trevor. I'm not pretending he is, but like
Here's the thing, Richter is fucking cool in the games.
oh my god. Okay.
I still remember the Smash community having this exact conversation when Richter got confirmed for Smash.
Oh my god. But yeah, so I'm interested to see what happens with the show. We'll see if it even comes to light, frankly. Netflix seems to have been really enjoying how anime and animation has been paying off for them, as we'll get to later. But it remains to be seen with an IP like Magic how well they're going to do something like this. But in much more drama-related Magic the Gathering news,
A hot topic of the Magic community.
legitimately can't go on a Magic
About
thing
hot
without
topic?
without this going crazy. So we've talked about bans and restrictions a bunch on here. Whenever there's a big ban and restricted announcement, we talk about it. Usually that's for formats like Modern. Commander very rarely has banned and restricted announcements that mean anything. They
in
mean,
one-on-one formats, generally it's quarterly they do this. With Commander, it's been, 3 years since the last ban or something?
Yes. Okay, yeah. It's been years since the last ban, but they do put out an announcement every quarter, roughly to say, hey, maybe we're looking at something or we're aware of something, but 99% of the time, these Commander announcements say no changes, no changes, no changes. And there's been a lot of discourse online about should they have a more active role? Why are some cards banned? Should other cards be banned that are not fun? So on and so forth. Out of nowhere, the Rules Committee announces 4 cards banned. Nadu, Winged Wisdom, which we hilariously talked about a couple weeks ago being banned in Modern after they last minute redesigned it for Commander, is now banned in Commander because it's boring play pattern to play with and against, and slow. But more importantly, Dockside Extortionist, Jeweled Lotus, and Mana Crypt, all plus $50 or plus $100 cards at minimum for their entire life of the format, are all banned. And people are going crazy about it.
People are going crazy, but I've also seen some of the actual worst takes in Magic history.
Oh yeah,
in the last couple days.
Leslie has been sending me pictures from a Magic group she's in on Facebook where she's just fighting against people who are attacking everyone. There's people who are going, stupid losers, this is why we should proxy everything, this is why we shouldn't support Wizards. Other people being like, you've destroyed the money of my collection, I can never have faith in you again, we should... Apparently there's been maybe there's been doxing of people from the Rules Committee, which is pathetic. Anyone who does that is scum.
I think everyone just hasn't gotten used to the idea that Magic cards could lose value. I once had an Affinity deck worth almost $1,000. I think today that deck is worth less than $150.
Friedman, I had a Mana Crypt from Kaladesh that was worth $400. I hesitate to look at what it's worth right now. And I had a Jeweled Lotus worth $80. Both of those were in my Vance deck, my favorite deck right now. And both of them are banned. So now I have to find... new cards to put in that deck and make it definitively worse than it is now. But at the same time, I'm in a weird place because I was the only person running those cards.
Wait, real quick, your Mana Vault is one of the masterpieces.
Crypt. Right? Kaladesh, yeah.
Oh, oops. Sorry, Mana Crypt, not Mana Vault.
I have both.
Yeah, I know. That's why I was confused here.
Yeah, no, they are both Kaladesh. And to be fair, I would own that card without... I bought it when it was much cheaper, and I don't really... The money isn't a huge thing for me, but I can imagine there are people who would be devastated by this who have spent more money on these cards than I have. I had dreamed of someday getting a textured foil of the Jeweled Lotus for Vance as like a pure bling present to myself someday. That was a $500 piece of cardboard that I cannot buy now.
It was listing at $750. A bunch of people are undercutting at $500, but there's only 10... There's only 24 for sale on TCG Player. So,
yeah.
A lot of people are selling out will drive the price down, but I don't think the Masterpiece is going to go that low.
It's not. And I'm not... No, Freeman. I was going to buy it when I could play it. I'm not buying it now.
Yeah.
I would never buy that card now. It's pointless.
For collection reasons, now it's worth it.
I have one forever if they unban it, but I'm not spending the money on it. No, it's more just that like a lot of people are frustrated because Dockside Extortionist was a card that
they already announced they were looking at it for forever.
I'm sure, and they should have been, because that card was busted in CEDH and led to a lot of loops, but outside of CEDH was just sometimes good, sometimes bad. But is one of those just really strong red cards that's like the best ritual in the entire world.
People at home, what is CEDH?
Sorry, you're right, Tyler. I should be defining what I'm talking about better. CEDH is basically a splinter group of Commander within the Commander rules group. Or not even within the group. It's basically it's literally a philosophical concept because it's such a vague thing that you can't really define it. It's basically people who try to play the most competitive version of Commander possible.
I'll define it for the normies. If you're playing Monopoly and your friend starts explaining to you why they won't buy anything except for the 2 groups of houses right after jail, that's the kind of person we're talking about. Who's metagamed a game whose point isn't to get metagamed. That's the competitive Commander community. They were trying to turn this in. They try to make the strongest possible decks you can.
Yes. And the thing is,
there's shit on them. It's really cool to see what they come up with. But
yes, there's been a lot of
else is expecting to play this. It can be kind of weird.
Yes, so there's definitely a weird area where people with CEDH decks and people with like a precon are able to play the same format. And it's one of those things that it's one of those weird like tension points within Commander. A lot of people have talked about, there should be a competitive rules committee. It should be a separate format because some things matter there that don't matter elsewhere. So that's Dockside Extortionist was a 2-mana creature. When it entered the battlefield, it made a number of treasure tokens, which you can sack for 1 mana. It's just an artifact. That's all it does. But it made it equal to the number of artifacts and enchantments your opponents control. And that was so good in CEDH because a lot of the best permanents in that format were 1 and 0 drop and 2 drop artifacts and enchantments. So your opponents would dump their hand or play their own Dockside and have like 8 or 9 of these things on the board, and you play a Dockside, and suddenly you generate +7 mana on a 2-drop creature. There's basically no card in Magic that gives you that kind of return on mana, and with things like Sacrifice, Reanimate, or Blinking, you could loop this thing.
Really easy to
it was so easy to go infinite mana with this card. I intentionally didn't run it in Vance for that exact reason. I didn't like it in Vance, and I thought it was silly, and it was one of those cards that I felt was actually too powerful to be fun, and didn't really fit the theme. What?
You're silly.
Why? What?
You're silly.
Okay, Leslie. Jewel. Let me go. Mana Crypt, the oldest card out of all these by a lot.
For all times,
was a 0-drop artifact that could tap for 2 colorless mana as soon as it entered, so better Soul Ring, at the cost of, at the beginning of your turn, you would flip a coin, and if you lost, you took 3 damage. In a format like, in a competitive format where you have 20 life, that's not a massive drawback, but in a Commander format where you have 40 life, that's basically not a drawback. The only thing that kept this card from seeing more play was the fact that it has probably never gone below $100 in the entire existence of Commander. But it's better Soul Ring in most cases. And Soul Ring is a card that even in their announcement they said should be banned. But it's too iconic to the format. It's the Brainstorm of Commander, like Brainstorm in Legacy. So they're not going to ban it. And the last card, the one that I actually think was probably the least needing to be banned, was Jeweled Lotus. Tyler, I'm sure even you remember the card Black Lotus, the most famous card in Commander, basically.
The most famous card of all time.
So Black Lotus is a 0-drop card that you can tap it and sacrifice it to add 3 mana of any one color. Jeweled Lotus was the Commander-specific version of that card they came out with about 2 years ago, and it sacrifices to make 3 mana only for casting your Commander. So in my Vance deck, it was the best turn 1 that deck could do was a turn 1 Jeweled Lotus, crack it, play Vance, play a land, play a 1-mana spell that gave Vance haste, shoot someone for 4, and then attack for 4, so I could deal 8 damage on turn 1. That was the best the deck could ever do.
Implying that's not a great start for that deck, though.
No, I'm not saying it's not. I'm not saying it's not. But that was literally the dream draw: was Jeweled Lotus, a mountain, and a 1-mana haste spell in my hand. So 3 cards, one of which is a specific card. I think I pulled that off 2 or 3 times. But they all got banned, and now people are going crazy about how much value they've lost, about how the rules committee is going too far. Other people going, this is amazing. They haven't gone far enough. Now that we're in an age of actually banning annoying-ass cards in Commander, let's go harder with it. It really just opened this Pandora's box of everyone giving their shitty take on Commander physically possible online.
A lot of people with really dog shit opinions feel really empowered. I saw a thread today that was just someone saying, I can't believe they want to speed up the format by removing fast mana. And I was like, what the fuck is this guy smoking? I read his argument is that because it's harder to cast your 7 and 8 mana commanders, everyone's going to play more low to the ground games. And I'm just like, what the actual fuck does this person think Magic is? Like, there's like a lot of people who don't really understand what the impact is are being very, very vocal.
I think I don't even think it's that they don't understand. I think it's just perpetually online people are angry, and it's terminally online. That's the word I like to use.
Terminally fucking hell.
Like Leslie was sending screenshots of some of the stuff people were saying in this, like literally like a Facebook group for women who play Magic to talk to each other and share deck ideas and things like that. And people were like vitriolic, like, oh my God, like it's ridiculous to see these takes.
Send me some of these screenshots. I'm curious.
As someone who owned 2 of these very expensive pieces of cardboard, and if I owned that Jeweled Lotus, I would own the most expensive possible piece of cardboard that could have been banned here, except for maybe like Mana Crypts from like original printings. I get it. I'm sad. I liked my cards in my shitty Vance deck, but at the same time, like, yeah, these cards weren't good or healthy for the format. If these cards were cheaper, everyone on planet Earth would play them, which is exactly the thing I hate the most about Commander. How everyone just gravitates towards the busted cards. So yeah, I get it.
You mean every card game ever?
Every game ever.
Sure.
I mean, you could look at like World of Warcraft. I'm sure Luigi could tell stories about how everyone min-maxes the fucking armor sets in those MMOs. Like every game, everybody wants to do the strongest thing, and no one tries new things, and it's all the same. And I get it.
I'm actually curious. Do you think the outrage would be the same if the same cards were banned, but the ban was spread out over time?
I think it would be less. I think part of it is the fact that the rules committee has done nothing and apparently gave not apparently. They basically gave no indication this was coming. They hadn't released any articles saying fast mana is a problem. They hadn't said, ooh, here's a watch list of cards. They hadn't said, other than what you said about Dockside. And, like, people knew Nadu was probably going to go.
Yeah, like, if they came out and they just said Dockside and Nadu banned today, no one would be blinking an eye.
I think CEDH I think part of the problem is that competitive players really, like Freeman, a lot of those people looped Dockside as a win con to generate infinite mana. And now it's like, oh, well, Thassa's Oracle is now, like, the only 2-mana creature that just wins you the game most of the time. So now it's like even less diversity in that format potentially. But I don't care. I don't give a shit. Like they need to figure it out too, just like everybody else. I don't know.
All right,
I'm sad because I really wanted that pretty card to be in my Vance deck, and now I have to figure out Vance cards that replace these cards. But I'll live. I'll still love my deck.
You just have to do 8 damage on turn 2 instead of turn 1.
Yeah, well, that's less fun. Speaking of less fun, this is news that was breaking a little while ago that I saw on Reddit. So apparently the Tokyo Game Show is going on. Maybe that's part of State of Play or something like that. Or not part of, but like adjacent to State of Play or something.
TGS started last weekend.
I don't freaking know.
All I know, every Japanese game in the world is on sale on Steam right now.
Oh, okay. Maybe I'm wrong. Well, all I know is that apparently tomorrow there was supposed to be a show from Ubisoft where they were going to talk about Assassin's Creed Shadows. And they have canceled that show and all press events for Assassin's Creed Shadow.
Damn.
Wonder what happened.
So a lot of speculation is that the game is delayed, which would be pretty new for Assassin's Creed. It's only happened like once or twice in the franchise's history. But also, we are coming off of what are likely less than stellar sales for Outlaws. Because the Star Wars game that everyone already forgot exists. Like, talk about a game that literally disappeared.
It disappeared pretty quickly. No one gave a shit.
Yeah.
No one expressed any sort of interest in it.
Yeah, you know why? Because Ubisoft games don't provoke any kind of passion or excitement or even hatred these days. Like, it's just like, oh, another open world game. Okay.
And that's exactly what everybody said it was.
No, I know, but I'm saying that. Like,
no, I'm not like that's not a criticize against you. I'm just saying, or like what you said, like
no, like
that's what everybody said. Like,
yeah, and it sticks in my head that Mark Rosewater, not to bring it back to Magic, but he said, and I know I've said this before, but he brings up that he'd rather make a card that a lot of people love or a lot of people hate instead of everyone doesn't give a shit about, because that's how you actually at least you're getting some kind of response. Like, Ubisoft games are like, what? Like, they're just, it's like having the same sandwich every day with with a different drink on the side. Like, it's not new, it's not different, which is okay if you like that thing. But to most people, especially in today's gaming environment where there's so many like indies and interesting things going on the periphery, if you look around at all, you can find something much more interesting than a Ubisoft game.
Yeah. I find it interesting that the biggest criticism of any open world game, because I saw this a lot with Final Fantasy VII, was this feels like an Ubisoft open world game, and that's meant to be like video game criticism.
Yes, it is, with good reason. Like, it's weird to think that I played Far Cry 3. God, how long has it been since Far Cry 3? Almost 10 years, probably. I bet, if not more.
Something like that.
If probably more even. I could probably play a new Far Cry and be like, this is almost the same thing. Like, that's not much evolution. And I know I always bring it back to Star Wars in times like this, but when you think about how many Star Wars games, admittedly from different studios, but with the same overarching like head of Lucas, you think about how many Star Wars games came out in those like late 2000s, early 2000s, that early 2000s era, like, that were all so radically different, and you're like, Ubisoft, how do you just want to make the same game? Who are the people who are making you the same game every single time? It's just wild. But anyway, we'll see what happens next with Shadows. I mean, I know there was always the controversy, the historic immersion from all the losers online.
Immersion.
But yeah, so we'll see what happens in the future with that. But I don't really care. Just thought it was interesting that they canceled the events. I probably will never. I'm certainly never going to play this game, but.
Yeah, before we move on to the next time, I want to piggyback off TGS. So yeah, it did start last Friday. It runs through this weekend, and they're going to do the one thing I didn't put on here is Death Stranding 2 previously had an hour-long cinematic teaser trailer thing going on, and they just bumped up that presentation up to 90 minutes. So I don't know what that means, if they intend to show an hour and a half of not gameplay footage.
Oh my
because
god.
It's Hideo Kojima's just next movie series in a video game. But I'm excited to see what they do after the last trailer, because that shit is wonky.
Speaking of videos, there we go.
Video games.
And video games. Every year I like to talk about when League comes out with their 2 world songs, and here we are with the first of the world songs, the world's anthem song. There's like a finals song, which is usually like a big event, but then there's the anthem song, and this year they got 7 years. No, not 7 years. Oh my god, it's got to be even more. It's got to be almost 10 years since Linkin, since I almost said it, since Imagine Dragons came out. Here we are with Linkin Park and Heavy Is the Crown coming out and doing the League video and the League song. We watched the video right before this. Freeman had heard the song. Me and Tyler hadn't heard it until right before. Song's pretty good, actually. It's
Actually
definitely
pretty
Linkin
salad.
Park. What do you say, Tyler? I talked right over you.
It's pretty salad. Pretty salad.
Pretty salad.
Pretty salad.
The animation, I told you guys this story, but the animation is extra hilarious because the whole video is about trying to take the crown from T1, who literally by the skin of their teeth made it to Worlds this year. And if they had failed to make Worlds after, I think they've made Worlds almost every... They are the winningest team in League history. They've won Worlds 3 times.
There's a reason they were a shoo-in for animating them.
I know. They've won Worlds more times than any other organization. They've lasted longer than most organizations in the entire scene of League of Legends. They're the most famous in the world. Faker's the most famous player in the world. And I think they've only missed Worlds like maybe once or twice in those 10 years. I can't remember the numbers. But after they won last year, and then to 4th seed from Korea, they have to play in the play-in stage, which is like the round robin of like the B tier regions, and the bottom seeds from the major regions have to whittle themselves down to go to the main stage. They're in that event. If they get eliminated from there, that's going to be crazy, but they probably won't. But the fact that they almost didn't make it out of the Korean, I think Korea has 10 or 12 teams. I think it's 10. And they were almost not even 4th seed. And if they had not made it, boy, this video would have been real.
Brother.
Yeah, brother. But they did make
Who's
it,
that,
and
brother?
it's a cool video. It's not as storied like in other years. They've had an actual like plot to the video that they go through. This was very much just like, here's a bunch of players showing up to fight T1 to try to get the crown, and that's it. There's not a lot of story, just some action. So the video is kind of meh, but it's definitely, I think this is, we didn't actually check, but I feel like this has to be Fortiche, right? This looked very arcane.
It did look Arcane-esque.
Well, also, we know this song is going to be in Arcane. This is going to be one of the songs from the new season coming.
Oh, wait, they confirmed that separately?
Yeah, they said that when they announced the song. They said this is going to be in Arcane Season 2, and this is the World's Anthem for this year.
Gotcha. When Arcane comes out, I'm wondering if it's dropping as like the whole season, if they're doing weekly releases.
I think they're... No. I think they're doing the batches of 3 again.
Because then do we end up with Worlds concluding with the last batch?
Could
and
be.
Then we get,
I don't
we get
remember
the
what
final
the
song goes in.
I don't
goes in
remember what
Arcane.
the... hold on. Arcane Season 2... Season 2 arriving in 3 acts, November 9th, 16th, and 23. So it is the same thing. And then Worlds is going from... I should have put this together first. This is all... Worlds does go till November. Worlds Finals is Saturday, November 2nd, actually. So a week after Worlds ends, we have 3 weeks of Arcane.
We're definitely getting the last song is going to be in Arcane too. It's definitely happening.
It's certainly possible. I kind of hope not, though. Because they kind of did that when Arcane Season 1 came out, and it kind of made the Worlds song less worldsy.
Worldsy.
Did it?
Either way, I don't remember which song it was, honestly. I shouldn't have even said that. But either way, it's a cool song. Video was all right. I look forward, as always, to seeing the next Worlds song for the actual finals. That's always a banger, too. That's usually when, like, the in-game groups, like KDA, Heartbreakers, what are some of the other bands? There's got to be one more. Oh, True Damage. Like, all those league...
Pentakill coming back?
Huh?
Pentakill, are they still a thing?
Oh, man, that... I wish.
I don't check.
They haven't put out anything since like 2 years ago when I listened to that album a lot. That album was great. But Pentakill, Pentakill doesn't really has never been part of Worlds. Pentakill has always been its own thing in the middle. Like, they're the only music group in League that comes out like whenever the fuck.
I'll tell you what. It's actually really funny because I'm like, you guys know me, I don't play League at all. But man, like, I love every Riot like League spin-off thing.
Oh yeah.
I think it's all really good.
Dude,
Um,
people have said for a long time, there's been a meme that Riot is a music company masquerading as a game company because all their music stuff is pretty sweet.
for real.
Like Pentakill is a solid. I like Pentakill a lot. KDA, obviously a banger. A lot of the world's
KDA
songs
is
are
good.
good. They also acknowledged KDA recently. There's a Gragas is a champ. He's a champ in League. They recently announced that like in the next patch, one of the skins coming out is KDA fan Gragas. So probably not going to get KDA at Worlds this year, but they do all obviously still know that KDA, their most popular thing ever, still exists. So maybe someday, maybe next Worlds, we'll get more KDA. I was trying to think of how I could do like KDA, State of Play, kind of rhymes a little bit. I don't know. Sony State of Play, video games. Not fake video game music, actual video games.
Real video games. So this one, I hate putting State of Play news on here because I'm always like, oh, what cool shit is coming to Sony consoles? And then I have to pause and say, what cool shit is coming to Sony consoles that isn't coming to everything else as well? So I put on all the interesting stuff, but I did not fact check what is exclusive and what's not. But I've done it in the last 5 minutes. So let's go through this. The one that was most exciting to me is we got the Monster Hunter Wilds release date. The entire time
I thought you were gonna say Lego Horizon Adventures.
Are you excited for that one?
Yeah, totally.
All right, yeah, Lego Horizon Adventures is happening. Honestly, I'm shocked at how many different Lego spin-off games they're doing. I realize it's
Stupid.
for a game studio to be able to do it, good on them. But it's just like I get it when we want to be like we want a video game movie, but it's hard to do those. So we'll use the Lego parody concept to keep this movie along, or do like Batman without being too serious. But when you make a Lego video game adaptation of something that's already a video game,
Yeah.
you're starting to lose me.
Oh, it comes out on my birthday. That's funny.
Anyway, Monster Hunter Wilds. We've gotten a couple trailers for it. We've gotten gameplay here and there. After this trailer, which was like 50% cinematics, 50% legitimate gameplay of being a hunter, not the fighting monsters combat, I can safely say that this is Monster Hunter Worlds 2 and not Monster Hunter Rise 2, because Rise was not that good and I still really love World. Cinematics, still cheesy plot lines. The one thing I really did not like about this trailer, and I don't know if it was like this in other Monster Hunter games, the Palicos can talk now. I don't like it.
Yeah,
Like someone said,
I don't like that.
someone said, "Don't step my tail, you'll mess up the fur." And I'm like, "Wait, did the fucking cat just say that?" So the cats are talking now. Not happy about that, but the game looks great.
Ma, there's a weird fucking cat outside.
But anyway, the lighting, because the new monster is this big like white lightning thing, and it looks insane with the lighting. So I'm very excited. I'm sitting there going, January, come on, show me January, and then they pull up February 28th. So not that far off. Not that long of a wait. It looks super cool, but this is releasing on every console but Switch. Moving on. We got it's not a sequel.
It's
but
a
it's Ghost of
spiritual
Tsushima 2.
sequel.
Ghost of Yotei. I only briefly watched the trailer once I realized it was
Can't fucking wait.
Ghost of Tsushima. I'm just sitting there looking at it like, damn. I should really play Ghost of Tsushima before caring about this game.
Wait, you never played the first one?
No, I didn't.
Bruh,
I want to though. My only
so
fear is that it sounds really hard and I'm bad at video games.
No. So, all right, you can play. Like, it's easy.
Okay.
I played it on the hardest difficulty because I loved this game. Like, I played through it twice in a short period of time, and I don't typically do that unless I really like the game. Like, I love Ghost of Tsushima. I think you would love it too.
Is it comparable in difficulty to FromSoft games, or do they let you lower it to
No.
the point where-
No, it's
only-
nowhere
no.
near that.
Dude,
No.
all right. So then I have a massive misconception because when it came out, I was like, God, this is another Dark Souls-esque. Like it's just a struggle fiesta. But
No,
in that
it's
case,
not.
In
It
that
really
case,
isn't.
I'll bump it up on priority because I watched Aiden play it and it looked crazy.
Yeah, it's like, and it has multiple difficulties. So like even like on normal, I thought it was pretty easy, honestly.
Okay, my interest in the franchise has increased. Anyway, we're getting a new entry. This one is almost guaranteed to be PS5 exclusive for at least a year
Yeah.
until they want that PC money because you know how it is.
Yeah. Cannot fucking wait.
Moving on to the next ones. Apparently, this game got announced forever ago and then went MIA until now, or we have like a pseudo gameplay trailer. The game's called Hell Is Us. and it very much looks like someone who's just like, I wish we had another Hideo Kojima game, but like if it were a game and not a movie.
But
So it has that vibe. So the trailer looked cool. I'm gonna wait on it because gameplay-wise it looks kind of wonky, and I think they're still in early development. So interesting stuff. Next one, I thought this was gonna be PS5 exclusive, and be like, ah, look, Sony can still have games. But Dynasty Warriors Origins has been announced for all platforms for a while now, and they just showed off a hype trailer for it. I still think it's hilarious they're doing more Dynasty Warriors games. I love the beat 'em up genre. I wish that Gundam would sell them the license again because they haven't done a Dynasty Warriors Gundam since the PS2.
oh man, I
That'd be
remember wanting
super
that
cool.
game.
Yeah,
Just
that's all I
because
really wanted with the
wing
franchise.
characters were in it, I was like, I want to play this.
Because that also came at like the peak of like Gundam Seed hype. So all of the like sharp edge wing Gundams, like they were all over that. So I very much want that. Moving on to some actual Sony exclusive shit. 2 DLC announcements. The first one, Stellar Blade, had a couple of updates coming, including probably one of the coolest photo modes I've seen in any of these games, where you can physically edit the lighting in any given scene when you have photo mode, and able to like physically move a lighting source around in the scene.
Wow.
To customize what you want to take. So photo mode looked cool, and then halfway through the trailer, it cuts to the music from Nier Automata. You see the main character in like the 2B outfit, and then like alluding to some other bigger DLC collaboration, which was super weird for me because I just beat Nier, and I'll talk about that later. But super cool.
That is really funny.
It has me a little more interested in Stellar Blade because I remember when Stellar Blade launched, like, this is cool, but I should really play my current horny weeaboo action RPG before thinking about any other ones. So might think about it. And the next one, free content update for Astrobot. They're adding new levels. They're adding speed running stuff. They're adding new costumes, including like Helldivers. So it's cool that all this stuff is coming out for free. It reminds me a lot of when Little Big Planet was Sony's big platformer franchise where they can just inject other Sony content into it. So
I missed that game.
I know. I wish it wasn't a dead franchise.
Yeah. What, Tim? You never. You know what I actually thought would be the next one, next Sony like big franchise? I thought Tearaway was going to be the next big Sony franchise.
What game?
Tearaway?
Yeah.
Yes, this is what I'm saying.
Freeman
no one
and I
really
don't even
heard
know.
of
Yeah.
it. You know why? Because it came out for the Vita
Oh
originally. But I loved. So that game is awesome. It really like so like you know how like Nintendo.
This one. Yeah, okay.
Huh?
I know the one you're talking about. I just didn't know it by name.
Yeah. So what I liked about this game, just real quick, like they used the entire like every gizmo and gadget on the Vita. But I thought it was like super fun. It was cute. It was creative. I really enjoyed it. I do think I want to say one thing about it. I definitely didn't tell you this. I think I would have, but like I never talk about this game. But the defining moment for this game, right? Because so the whole point of the game is that you come in and you remake stuff in the game. So what that does is it changes how the textures are. That's all you're really doing. You're changing the textures, right? Like
Everything's
that's
all
the
like this
very
paper material, and it all looks different based on texture, right?
yeah, and like the bad guy came in and like they took out everything, so it's like, oh, like the king needs a crown. You need to make a crown, so you make a crown for him, right?
Yeah.
Oh, we don't have snow anymore, right? You need to make a snowflake, so you make a snowflake. Like it's pretty cool. Well, I thought the snowflake, right? I didn't realize I was replacing the snow for the entire game, and I thought it was just a statue.
Oh no.
So this is gonna be a very telling thing, and like how old I was when this game came out. But I decided to just make it a swastika,
Oh no.
and I thought it just changed the statue. No, every snowflake in the entire game for the rest of the game.
Oh no.
It's like, oh no, what have I done? But oh my god! But it was cool though. Like that aside, I thought the game was really cool. I thought it was clever. I really liked it, and I was hoping that they came out with more stuff. But I played Astrobot, the original one, not like the full-fledged game of it, and I did like Astrobot. I think it was pretty cool.
Yeah, I spoke with you guys offline about it, but I was on the fence between do I play Astrobot or do I play Mario Odyssey first because my brother just gave me back the copy that we bought forever ago. So probably after Titanfall, I'm probably gonna do Mario and then
Hell
maybe something else and then
stand by.
Yeah, Astrobot. I can't do too many platformers in a row. I'll get bored.
Yeah, why do you think I'm playing some other shit in between playing KOTOR 2.
Yeah, got to keep it fresh. Change up
Sadly,
the
but
genres.
understandable.
Bro, because then you know what? Because you know how many RPGs I played this year? Too fucking
I
many.
know. I'm not disagreeing. I told you I get it. I'm sad, but I get it.
I've only played Final Fantasy 7. I've played too many.
Bro, I need to talk about that later. But
All right.
speaking of RPGs, Power World
Oh yes, Power
is
World.
coming to PS5.
Yeah, so
This is hilarious,
this
dude.
sounds goofy because we weren't going to talk about it, but Power World's getting sued by
Goofy
Nintendo.
ain't the word.
Ironically enough, not for copyright infringement. It's not for character designs. It's patent infringement for gameplay, which is odd because everyone's like, "Hold up, Nintendo. Do you really have patents on throwing a ball at a living creature? Is that your
Bro, they
patent?"
literally can't think of anything else. That's why they use this.
Yeah, it's an odd lawsuit, and I'm curious how it's going to pan out. But in the midst of all of this, like it's coming to PS5, the only console that didn't have it yet, because it was already out on Switch, Xbox, and PC.
Yeah, it was the one big get from Xbox ever.
Yeah, and now just to see this, it's like, hey, look, you again. What are you doing here? Shouldn't you be in court right now?
Shouldn't you be in court right now? It really bothers me though. Like Nintendo, come on, like you.
It's
I don't have any
Nintendo.
good words.
Nintendo's swinging, for lack of better words, their legal dick around is getting kind of annoying. So I follow a lot of YouTubers who cover like the retro emulation handhelds you guys see me purchasing unnecessarily. And one of them got a permanent copyright strike for having longer than 6 seconds of the menu from Mario Odyssey in his video.
Useless.
And it's like, really, Nintendo? This was media that you make money off of, and you think someone else is capitalizing on the menu screen to Mario Odyssey?
Yep.
Yeah, of course.
They do.
It's horseshit. All right,
They
we're
do
not here to
think that.
bash Nintendo. We're here to get disappointed at Sony announcements.
Are you sure? Because I'm here to bash Nintendo.
Yeah. All right. Well, we can.
Always down.
Yeah. All right. We'll have. And give me one more second, then we'll talk about Nintendo again. So,
Down to fucking clown.
the last trailer I saw from the State of Play that I thought was noteworthy, and it's only for me, was I see the name Arcade Chronicles, and I'm sitting here, I'm like, there's no way this is related to that shitty Korean MMO Arcade that I got really into the month it launched and then fell off when I realized how play to win it was. And then replayed it when they relaunched the game because they made it too pay to win, and like, we want to get everyone's like devotion to this game back. We're gonna cut all of the monetization models and release it as it was intended. And then not even a month later, they literally just re-released all the monetization from the first one, and it went horribly. So Arcade was just poorly managed because it was a U.S. company that bought it from a Korean company and then re-marketed it towards the U.S. market and didn't understand how to do monetization. Yeah, a lot of re. So point is, that thing shut down. And now Arcade Chronicles, which from the trailer looked like just a standalone action RPG, looked pretty cool. And then at the end, they're like, it's an MMO. I'm like, it's an MMO? All right. I'm not interested. But it looked pretty, and I'm curious. I'm not going to play this, but I want to see how much they can do in an MMO sequel, because it's not like the major MMOs don't really do sequels. Like, you get expansions. Guild Wars is weird because it had Guild Wars 2. Final Fantasy 14 basically got sequeled with Realm Reborn, but like, we haven't seen another big MMO do like a straight up, we are doing a new game style sequel in a while. So I'm curious what they do. But I am not.
Realm Reborn.
Yeah, I just don't have time to play another MMO. I'm not quitting Guild Wars 2, and there's no way I could play 2 at the same time.
I don't know. Maybe you should.
Well,
Something. All MMOs are bad.
they are. The thing about Guild Wars 2 is because there's no subscription and there's no real power creep. Anytime you come back, like, it's really not that hard to get caught up to endgame. So it's one of those games where I don't play it every single day, but I've never truly quit Guild Wars 2. Anyway, moving on. No Switch 2 announcements at the Sony conference. Big joke. But Switch 2 designs were leaked by the Chinese manufacturer, and it's looking more and more like it's quite literally the Switch 2 because it looks almost the same. Joy-Con design is a little bit bigger. It seems they're a little beefier this time, which I very much love. As someone with big hands, like, gripping a normal Switch without third-party Joy-Cons or just a separate controller kind of sucks. So happy to see that. The whole thing looks a bit bigger. If anything, it's going to be the same thing it was last time. It's a mobile tablet, but they're just going to upgrade the internals. So nothing too shocking. Nintendo's very much going to keep it safe this generation. Also, most of these leaks are unconfirmed, but let's be real here. We all know what's going down. And Tim, you want to...
This one's just funny. I just like talking about Yakuza whenever it comes up. It wasn't part of the State of Play, but I think it was probably part of the Tokyo Game Show. in the forever quest of the Yakuza team to only reuse assets about 5 games worth before they finally make new assets. Time for another Hawaii game. Majima
Dude, this game looks fucking stupid.
Majima washes up on the shores of Hawaii and has amnesia, and a kid goes, "You must be a pirate because you have an eye patch," and he rolls with it. And that's the story of this Yakuza game. I don't play these anymore since Zero. I really should get around to playing the new ones, the turn-based ones, just to try them out. But yeah, it's more Yakuza wackiness. Majima being here is great. Majima's always a great character. Yeah, I just thought it was fun to throw it out there because these guys are so dedicated to getting every last drop out of their assets. It's kind of amazingly dedicated that they just keep going with this stuff.
As long as they can still be creative with it, I'm fine. Like, we're seeing in the era of just game sequels taking so long, they figured out how to pump them out by
it's called keep reusing assets. There are animations in the Yakuza series that have been there since the first game.
Like, oh Lord.
Yeah, like that. Like, but why not?
Those are old
it
animations.
Still works. Who cares?
No, I'm good, bro.
As long as it's not jarring.
Man, Yakuza 0 is so good, and all these other ones are supposed to be
shitty ass games.
Anyway, but speaking of weird shit from Japan, it's time for the weird shit.
Yay! We're finally done with State of Play.
All right, cool. So this will be
because you don't have a PlayStation, Tim. I get it.
Yeah.
Well,
Tyler, how often do you boot it up?
I booted it up yesterday.
Oh well, you game a lot, so that's the wrong answer. Freeman, how often do you boot yours up?
Bro, I just finished playing Nier on it.
God damn it! All I see on the internet is, man, Sony announced nothing at the State of Play. Like, I know Freeman just went through all these announcements, but like, legitimately, how much of this is actually new shit that's exclusive to Sony?
I'm going to defend the whole, or not defend. I'm going to attack the PS5 has no games argument. If you want to make this argument, then you have to say PC has no games either.
What?
We're just saying multi-console doesn't count as games on a console.
Yeah, because everyone plays them on PC if they have a brain.
Xbox has literally 0 games.
Yeah, I know.
Literally 0 games because Game Pass puts everything on PC. Like, it's a goofy argument, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm not even done playing my PS4 back catalog.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, it doesn't have any exclusives, but I also don't have another system that does 4K.
I think
TV.
we're in. I'm I'm not gonna say anything. I was about to go off on like a topic level tangent, but let's just keep going into the Weeb shit. It's not worth
I have the idea we can do it next week. Anyway, so yeah, Weeb shit.
Speaking of Netflix liking animation.
Yeah. So a lot of this news came intermixed with like stuff we talked about earlier, like the Magic the Gathering announcement. Because I think last week was like Netflix's like nerd announcement week. So every day there was another new trailer for something that's coming out.
Except for Magic, which had a picture.
Yeah, because it was too early concept. But like everything else is either coming out end of 2024 or Q1 2025. First and foremost, they confirmed that My Happy Marriage Season 2 is coming out in January. Tim,
that show
you'll
was
be happy
fine.
to know that I started watching it again because my other friend group, one person was interested, and I said, fuck it, let's watch it. So we watched the first 2 episodes last night.
Show's fine. It's just a good romance. That doesn't need to go over the top. It's pretty.
It's a pretty anime. I like what I've seen of season 1 so far. Hopefully, it doesn't get too loopy before season 2 kicks in.
It's one of those things where, like, Val and I are getting to the point where we don't automatically watch every single sequel that comes out unless we don't have a ton to watch. I don't know how much is going to be in the winter season for anime yet. But if there's not much, we'll probably watch it. But we're not like, ooh, Happy Marriage. Yeah, thank God, I needed more of that. Like, it was fine.
All right. Moving on. We talked about this one a little bit off recording, but they're making another Devil May Cry anime. From out of the loop, they made one forever ago back when they were like just really bad.
Back when they were really bad.
Like I remember constantly seeing Funimation put like the Devil May Cry Blu-ray and like the Halo anime Blu-ray on sale at the same time.
Halo Legends, baby.
It was like that era of just Madhouse.
Halo Legends had like a couple that were pretty decent.
It was like
how come I don't remember any of them, and how come I don't like talk about them?
I mean, Tyler, like the one with the elites that was like super weirdly animated.
That was the worst one.
I was gonna say that one was shit. I was not about to defend that one. But you said you didn't remember any. Oh, I remember that terrible one.
Yeah, I remember that because it was the worst.
But remember the one where all the Spartans flying on those random space motorcycles and crash through the Covenant ship, and that's the whole fucking one?
Assed. Yeah, you're right.
That one was fine. What?
I don't know.
Tyler, nothing was as terrible as that Elite one. That one was fucking hideous and bad, and we're not here to talk about that. Talk about Devil May Cry, Freeman. Go ahead.
Devil May Cry anime. Johnny Young Bosch is voicing Dante.
Oh man, this is weird.
Trailer looks interesting. It's weird hearing him. It's weird hearing him as Dante when he voices another prominent character.
He voiced Nero, who's the second protagonist, basically, of Devil May Cry in the games.
Oh, he voiced Nero.
Yeah.
It's just weird to hear him as a different character.
Not even a different character, a completely different attitude character from the same series. Dante is always like, woohoo, wow, wow, I'm swinging motorcycles around. Woo, woo, wah, wah, party. Like, Dante's just a fucking goofball, and Nero's like, I take this seriously. I'm like an edgy teenager. I'm so gritty.
Virgil.
I'm so I gotta find my dad. But yeah, just for him to be Dante. But apparently it's because the guy who played Dante was involved in was very politically active online, let's say, and quit acting. So, but it's still weird to just rehire Johnny Young Bosch to do this anyway. It's still weird.
It feels like anytime you just want to save a nostalgia anime project, you just got to get Johnny Young Bosch on there.
Because he was
Trigun
like the first.
Stampede, Bleach, any of them.
Man, Trigun Stampede would have been
Power
better
Rangers.
without Johnny Young Bosch.
Yes, Power Rangers. Right, moving on. More.
Oh, you didn't say when that's coming.
Oh, sorry, April 25. So this one is Q2. It'll air. Still have no idea what's coming out that season. Coming up sooner, because I'm pretty sure this one releases this quarter. I didn't put the release down here because I forgot. But
Tim,
you me and Val watched the first 4 minutes.
Because who cares when this is coming out?
So listeners, for context, there's a show coming out called Gundam Requiem for Vengeance, and they build it as this almost live action but purely CG anime that's meant to be photorealistic. So we watched the 4-minute teaser release, and good lord, this shit looks like some PS3 graphics. Like,
Tyler, I want to watch this trailer with you after we're done if we have time. This literally looks like if you took like high quality like Final Fantasy X, or not even Final Fantasy X, like maybe Final Fantasy X probably.
Final Fantasy X, but the HD remake textures.
But the animation is dog shit. Like, it is ugly. The lip flaps don't exist. Everything moves all stilted and weird. Like, it is an
random explosions that look like actual PNGs going on.
This looks bad. Like,
to make matters worse,
when it first started, we were like, this looks kind of okay. Like, this is kind of good looking. And then as soon as anything moved or talked, it was like, oh no.
To make matters worse, there isn't a Gundam in the teaser footage. In the 4 minutes of footage, the last 45 seconds have some Zaku's in them, but they're never like centered in the frame.
They're like falling out of a plane.
It's like, why would you choose this as the teaser footage?
Oh no.
So it was very
Neptune.
Halfway through, I was like, oh god, I'm sorry I made you guys watch this. I thought this was going to be good. But yeah, that one was depressing. And the last one, Castlevania Nocturne. We got a trailer for that one. I skimmed through it because I didn't want to get spoiled of the plot. Animation still looks beautiful. January 25.
I ain't watching this trailer. Fuck yeah, can't wait.
You already know you're going to watch it.
Yep.
Moving on.
My defense of Nocturne, real quick, would be that season 1 of Castlevania was kind of rough a little bit too.
Yeah,
so
I almost didn't follow through because I didn't like season 1 of original.
Yeah, and rewatching so Leslie stayed over a couple weekends ago on a Saturday night, and we started her on season 3 of Castlevania, and like, I think we forget how some of the seasons are a little paced. Like, every season has kind of weird pacing problems at some points, and like,
no. Dang it.
No, you disagree?
No, Tyler's doing something else, or his cat acted up.
Yeah.
But I think season 1 of Nocturne is... I'm excited to see where it goes, considering where season 1 ends.
I am not.
Yes, that's fine. You're going to go play a video game, and I'm going to go watch Castlevania Nocturne, and we'll stay in our lanes, Tyler. It's okay.
I mean, you can play video games, too.
Yeah, but I watched anime instead. Like what I'm going to talk about under Tim's secret show later. But yeah, I'm hyped for this. Val and I are very hyped for this. This is we're both going to be watching this as soon as it comes out. We'll probably binge the whole thing just like we did either this past January or the one before. I can't remember which. Anyway, oh boy, this one. Ugh.
Yeah,
Oh
all right.
boy,
So
this one.
this one's hot off the press. I think this came out like at this point 10 hours ago. So we already knew that Dragon Ball Daima was having a big launch because
Freeman, you
unlike
mispronounced it. It's called Dragon Ball GT2.
So Dragon Ball GT2 is coming out.
Yeah.
We already knew that like what's it? Koei already learned their lesson with Dragon Ball Super that you can't release the first episode half finished and expect the rest of the season to just work out. So
What the fuck?
at the time of launch, I think 16 of the total 40 episodes have already completed like everything. Animation, voice recording, everything. So Crunchyroll comes out and they come with a trailer for the dub premiere where they're going to do the first 3 episodes dubbed in theaters. And the first thing I noticed was they have the name of the recording artist who's doing the opening song in the corner, and I see it's Zed. Zed is doing the opening for this franchise.
What?
Which
Oh,
seems
isn't he
weird.
like one of your heroes?
Yeah,
Davichi's
he
heroes?
was. We never introduced
hero.
Dez with 2 D's into that
Tez
franchise.
with 2 Z.
No, 2 D's. But yeah, no, I was a huge fan of Zed when I was in college. Obviously, his more recent stuff has gotten way too pop-centric and kind of blows. But the fact that like we went from Kaiju number 8 having
One Republic and
One
Youngblood.
Republic, and now we've got just like Zed doing Dragon Ball openings. Like we've gone international here. But the big thing is that for the first time since like the original Z dub, the original voice actress for Kid Goku, Stephanie Notley, is coming back to voice Goku. Which felt very weird to hear because her voice has changed a bit, but it's just like I'm so used to. I forget Colleen Clinkenbeard. I think she's done like the young Goku Gohan voice ever since Z Kai came out in 2015. So it's very nostalgic to hear some old Goku voice.
I mean, this show couldn't be more nostalgia pandering. Like, come on,
I just
Yeah.
want to know why they're going with this GT
dude.
knockoff when no one likes GT.
because they don't have any other answer, Tyler. Like, what are they supposed to do? They can't just keep going more
Stop.
and more big power.
They
So they're
want
going back
go
to Dragon
being
Ball.
Goofy.
It's back to Dragon Ball. That's what it is.
Yeah, but they did that last time and it didn't work.
Yeah,
out.
and then they
Well,
went up to
gave up.
Super and they're like, "Fuck it, we're out of ideas. Do GT again."
The problem was they literally gave up halfway through and they introduced Baby, and the whole thing got super dark and edgy for no fucking reason.
No,
Like, if they
the
want-
whole thing is that it sucked top to bottom. There was no point where that
the
was a fun
first-
show.
The first 12 episodes of GT are very different from the remaining 36.
Yes, because they were doing Dragon Ball and then they realized, oh shit, we're actually going to go back to doing Z again, and it just clashed horribly.
Yes. I still think if they really want to do the adventure route and didn't try to be so like serious, like be a Z2.
Yeah, when everyone was like dead, yeah, and
Yeah,
mind controlled
maybe,
by Baby or whatever,
yeah, that shit got really
dark.
I don't wanna call it dark, but like it got way too edgy for like fucking Dragon Ball poop jokes that they're gonna do with Daima. So anyone who really, really loved the filler comedy for Super, I'm really happy for you that you got your show. If they are simul dubbing, I'll watch it. But if it's releasing sub only at launch, I'm not watching this as it airs. I'm too much of a dub fan for this. But I'm also not that passionate about watching this. I don't really know. It's Dragon Ball. It's hard to give it up.
I honestly don't give a shit. I didn't even watch Super when it was out.
Yeah,
Nope.
keep it that way.
Same.
Super sucked.
See,
I don't know
Tyler
if
and I
it's
can agree on some things, like don't watch Dragon Ball Super.
Literally just go to YouTube and search for Goku Goes Ultra Instinct and watch those videos, and then you've seen it. You've seen everything important to Super.
Yeah. But people are like, yo, but like the Tournament of Power though. I'm like,
the
man,
Tournament of
whatever.
Oh,
The
here
Tournament
we
Power
go.
fucking sucked. I'm not gonna lie. I will not lie. It like when I got to the Tournament of Power, finally the animation kicks up. We have a structured like free for all tournament. Everyone is training. You have Gohan and Piccolo running like team strats and shit. And within 5 seconds, the entire unique concept goes away, and everyone's like, "Let's all fight 1v1s." And I'm like, why the fuck would you hype up that we need a team? It's a battle royale. We need strategy. And
Nope.
it turns out the strategy was just to keep Gohan and Master Roshi from getting bodied.
Freeman, here's the thing. Here's the thing you're forgetting. That idea would have worked if they were willing to let the show run for like 12 episodes. But this is Dragon Ball, baby. We need as many episodes as humanly possible out of this shit. Because South America demands content. So
South America demands content.
We got to keep the
Why
cartels
you
under
gotta
control.
attack them like that?
who's attacking them?
Why you gotta be so true?
That's not an attack.
I don't know.
All right. Almost lost it. I almost got too heated about Dragon Ball. Moving on. Kyoto Animation.
Oh,
making
this is
some
not-
rare
Yeah.
announcements because Kyoto Animation seems like they did Sound Euphonium last year. They've been kind of quiet. Two new
And
things.
you
coming.
and Val don't like Sound Euphonium anymore?
Look, the animation quality is stellar. The problem is, it's just boring as fuck. It's a source material problem. Like, it's very few times you see any like sports anime do things where it's like, oh, we were first years, we competed, it's over. They come back for the second year, and usually that's it. And in a rare twist of fate, they came back for a third year. But they've done absolutely nothing to differentiate the second year, which was a recapped version of the first year. So it's like, and the problem was
is a
Val and I
shame.
watched the entire second year rapidly to catch up for 3. So we're literally getting flashbacks to something that's supposed to be nostalgic, but we watched it like
5
2
minutes
months
ago.
ago. Yeah, so it's
Yo,
not hitting the right way.
I gotta say, this will come up during my secret show. That could be a topic in and of itself, is like talking about how watching things on release versus later.
Yeah.
But anyway, keep going.
Anyway, so announcements. The first one, all I saw was the poster. I'm like, no way, is this Nichijou 2?
It
but they're
looks
doing-
like it, though.
It certainly looks like it. So the author of Nichijou, which is this comedy franchise that Kyoto Animation did way back in the day, I think like right after, it was either before or after they did K-On! In 2009. I love this show. This was the comedy that I was hoping my dear friend Nokotan, Shiko Noko, was going to be, and it just straight up wasn't. And now we're getting a new series from the same author. Apparently the characters from Nichijou make cameo appearances in this, so it's not the same franchise, but I'm hoping it's that same brand of like bizarro humor. And Kyoto Animation will have the chance to flex their new decade animation flexes on us for some of these jokes. So I'm very excited. And the next one was a continuation of the Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid saga. We're getting a movie.
Woo!
And this one seems to be Kana-centric. They just came out with a poster, nothing else. So,
They came out with a poster. No, that's not true.
came out with a trailer?
They came out with a teaser trailer in the sense that it's a little bit of it's literally just the poster with like text on top of it flashing who's working on it, and then one line of fucking dialogue. You know what that is? It's
just
Kana
saying the name of the
saying no. It's Kana saying goodbye, Kobayashi.
movie.
Yes,
Oh, no.
Exactly. This is why I'm like, what the fuck? How could you just do that? Like, you just drop this and that's it? And the movie's called A Lonely Dragon? Like, what the fuck? Yeah, Dragon Maid's great. Dragon Maid's always a fun time. It's always
doubt it.
gorgeous. What?
I doubt it.
Doubt what?
That's good.
Well, I'm not
Oh, come on,
surprised.
Dragon Maid's good.
I'm just talking.
Tyler's
Alright.
just trying to stir trouble.
Keep starring. So the last two are just season 2 announcements from stuff airing this season. First and foremost, Luigi's favorite show, Spice and Wolf, is getting a season 2. This is inspiring weebs to make the brain dead argument that they can't believe Spice and Wolf is getting a complete adaptation. To which I have to remind those fans that Spice and Wolf, the book series, isn't finished yet. You can't get a complete adaptation. That said, a second season would put us at volume 9, and there's currently 24 released volumes.
Jesus.
So no, we're not
Wait,
getting a complete
okay,
adaptation.
I'm so confused then. So where is this argument coming from?
I don't know. They're just convinced that we're going to get continuous runs until it's over, but we're not. We're just getting a lot of content.
I don't
We're
know,
gonna get-
Freeman. Hollow sells a lot of body pillows.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. The opening scene of the anime, which so far heavily hints at alluding to the end of the light novel series, makes it seem like they want it to be a long-running thing. But like, as someone who's watching season 1, like, I don't know if this show in its current form has the staying power to be a 150 episode juggernaut. The fact that it's getting 48 is pretty massive as it is. But let's not get our hopes up and think we're getting 24 volumes adapted into this. And the next one, this is the opposite scenario. It's Alya hides her feelings in Russian, which I'm 2/3 of the way through, and from what I can tell, the general sentiment is this show is not that good and it's super underdeveloped. And there's no real reason to love the main character because every other side character is just way more interesting than her. And the hope is that it's getting a second season because they do want to flesh her out and get to the point where she becomes an interesting character and is worth having a franchise around her. But I'm not entirely convinced if you like. I've seen shows do this concept in 12 episodes just fine, and this one is like struggling to like make the main pairing interesting.
So glad I didn't pick this one up.
It's funny. I enjoy the show, but like I was honestly shocked when I heard it got a season 2. Especially
come on,
'cause
it's
this
like
is-
number 2 on Mal for the
Yeah,
season.
but it's Doga Kobo. They're in high demand for other shit right now, especially when they just got bought by Kalakawa. So I'm surprised they greenlit this
What
with the
was
studio.
thing? Doga Kobo. Oh my god, they're doing
Oshinoko.
Oshinoko at the same
Yeah.
fucking time, and they did Jellyfish. They're
Well,
psychos.
Alia got delayed from last season due to production issues. So they really did it before, and then they were only supposed to do Oshi this season. But the shit happens.
Oh god, fucking
Crazy.
damn it! So their next, so I went to them on Mal. Their next show is something that has a Japanese name that hasn't been translated yet, and the synopsis literally starts with the phrase "the love between brother and sister, the love between man and woman."
What?
Why is that the opening line of the
hold
synopsis
on.
for their next show?
No.
Here, let me keep reading. Let me keep reading. That which is most forbidden is most unyielding.
Stop, bro.
I can't with this.
You're not talking about the Shuinji family children. What show are you talking about?
Shinji K no Kodomatochi. The
Oh, sorry, I'm
baby?
on Wikipedia. Young man lives with 5 sisters, younger brother. Due to him never having a girlfriend, who remains single. Oh no! One day, his father reveals a shock to the family that he and his siblings are not blood relatives. Now
Can
he
we
finds himself
not,
dealing with an
please?
unexpected situation thanks to this revelation. That's the Wikipedia version of this
Can we
franchise.
not, bro? Can we not?
What if I pay them $5 to cancel this and do just more Oshinoko?
So we got the quintessential step siblings coming up next season.
Oh, shut the fuck! Oh my god! All right.
It's not next season.
What did we watch and play, boys?
All right, yeah, that's it. That's it for the Weeb shit. Let's
oh
talk about
my
anime.
god! Yeah. Oh
So,
man, let's talk about classics, dude.
So, all right,
Holy
so,
shit!
Wait, so story time here. There's a couple anime on my list that are like kind of old. I've been waiting to watch them. And Tim and I, we needed something to watch when Val would like just not want to watch the end of the night on our like anime watch nights. So I threw it just for shits and giggles. I'm like, Tim, why don't we watch this show called Gunbusters?
Gunbuster.
It's the same team that would go on to do Evangelion and Gurren Lagann, but it's from like the early 80s.
The
It's got that
80s, dude.
old anime aesthetic.
It's old.
And
Yo,
it was
Tyler, you would love this. Unironically, Tyler, you would probably get a kick out of this.
yeah, you'd actually enjoy this.
Tyler, this is chunky ass mecha, dude. This is great. This shit is like every little cable is like drawn and moving, and all these pieces are like slide. Oh man, it is hot.
It's an interesting show because like it released in 3 2-episode batches when it came out because they released them on VHS at the time. So it's 6 episodes total. The first 2 episodes are very much like high school.
High
bullshit.
school, yeah.
And like Tim and I were on the verge of dropping.
We were about to
episode 2.
drop this show.
Yeah. So, but like a week goes by, we have time. We watch episode 3, and like the second batch of episodes, like, all right, fuck this school plot line. We're in war in space.
Intergalactic genocide war. Let's go.
People are gonna die. Actual Zerg units that are like galaxy size are gonna start murdering people. Shit got wonky in episode 3, and Tim and I finished the episode. And we're like, so, do you want to just?
You want to watch one more?
More? Like, so we go right into it. And each episode is just getting progressively better, and I'm like at this point I'm starting to see the seeds of what would become other anime franchises. Like at the end of episode 4, she gets into the unit known as the Gunbuster, and she's doing the like. I realize this is the first one to do it, but I'm going to call it the Gurren Lagann arms crossed robot pose. And she like single-handedly defeats half their army like without moving her arms. It was just like
it's so funny.
It's rule of cool badass shit, but it's all with like my favorite style of animation. So I was losing it.
It was wild. It was wild. As someone who does not normally like old anime or how it looks or anything, like, and a lot of the dialogue, like the dialogue, this is not a great story, and the dialogue is rough.
Most conversations where characters disagree with each other ends with someone slapping the other one and running off. Like,
and crying.
Like legitimately 8 times in 6 episodes this happens.
Nice.
It's so classic.
This is some shit that I would like.
Yo, seriously, Tyler, you should watch Gunbuster.
If you can get through the first 2 episodes, you're gonna love this. Like, it
will get better.
On top of that, it has the eye catch for the commercial break. So we love to meme about like Full Metal Alchemist, or Initial D. This show has its own one that Tim and I have just been
Gunbuster!
And it's so upbeat and happy and comes out of nowhere. So we meme it.
So random. There's like a scene where someone dies and then you just hear Gunbuster.
Anyway,
hilarious.
I will risk the one spoiler though, Tyler. Like the last episode is one of the most. They made a lot of cinematic decisions for an episode of an anime.
Man.
I'll just say this: the whole episode is in black and white. And
for
they did it on
reason.
purpose. Because
Nah.
apparently it was harder to do it in black and white. Like they had to use different color. Like they had to use different color palettes to get it to look good in black and white. So it wasn't a question of did we run out of budget. It was an intentional decision.
Friedman, it's kind of a slideshow. It feels like a budget thing.
So during that part, yes, it was a slideshow. They ran out of budget because Huba Hideaki Anno directed this. This was his first show, and he did the same shit he did with Evangelion, where he couldn't decide on how he wanted the ending to go until too late into production to draw the thing he wanted to do. So they had to like slideshow a little bit of the last fight just to do
It's
the
so
whole ending
rough,
he wanted.
Tyler. It's so funny.
But it was worth it.
As soon as it started, we were both Googling immediately, like, what
Like,
the fuck
were
is up
there
with
budget
episode 6
problems?
of
What happened
Gunbuster?
here? Because like they very clearly upped the budget with each set of episodes that came out. But overall, amazing.
But those
6
middle
episodes.
3 episodes, man, like episode 3, 4, and 5, oof.
Phenomenal.
That is like, man, that is what every mecha dreams of being.
I just wish the mecha designs were cooler, but unfortunately, that was like
that
was how the era was. Where
they're very like chunky,
Gundams were chunky
goofy robots. It's like Jet Jaguar-esque. But yeah, it was. I genuinely couldn't believe that I enjoyed watching this show, especially after the first 2 episodes, which are just woof, like
yeah, they're kind of
rough. But 3, 4, 5, man, it's like, oh shit. Like, Tyler, I know Freeman already brought it up, but I just have to say it again to emphasize. When we finished episode 3, I literally, like, turned in my room, because Freeman wasn't here, we were online. I turned and I was like, Freeman, should we? I kind of want to watch another one.
Damn.
Like, it was so perfect. It was so
it's like
funny.
going into 3. I was like, all right, Tim's dropping after this one. He's definitely quitting. And then after that, I'm like, all right, we're locked in.
We're kind of locked in now. Like,
Locked
this is the
in.
good shit. Speaking of locked in, so I have another secret show, or should I say shows. I know that my other secret show was Trigun, and I had talked about watching Mob Psycho Season 1. I have finished all of Mob Psycho 100, Season 2, and Season 3.
So proud of you. I'm so happy that someone finally listened to this recommendation.
And the reason I bring up the whole, I don't know if shows are literally can be as good if you binge them, is because I didn't feel quite as connected to this as I'm sure you did, Friedman, when this was coming out. I still see the absolute greatness here. Like, this is still an incredible story. I told Val to watch this show on her own. I also completely agree with you that season 3 is a less good ending than season 2 is.
Yep.
And season 3, while still good, is not as great as season 2.
But why was it a secret show?
Because I didn't tell you guys that. I haven't been. So my secret shows, like Trigun was, I don't track them on Mal so that Friedman if I don't say anything, no one knows I watched it. The whole idea is to bring it to spring on you guys for the podcast what I've watched.
For context, listeners, if you're a boomer like me and use MyAnimalist on a desktop web browser, against your will, it shows you your friend activity on your homepage.
Against your will.
So I will always see the last 2 updates by friends I have on MyAnimalist. And usually it's just Tim and Del watching the same episode of a show because they watch stuff together. But occasionally I would see stuff like, oh man, Tim started watching Hamtaro or some random show.
Hamtaro! No, it happened with Mob Psycho Season 1.
Yes.
I remarked it as I'm watching this instead of dropped, and if Freeman was like, "Oh shit, Tim, you're watching Mob," and I'm like, "God, now I have to hide it and make it a secret so that Freeman can't see my update." So whatever show I watch alone, I'm just not going to say anything until I'm done and can talk about it on here. And this time it was both season 2 and season 3 of Mob Psycho, because once I was in, boy, I just plowed through and finished those.
To reiterate, it's just secret for me.
Yes, but also in that I didn't talk about it with anybody. Yeah. Like, not even just Tyler. Like, I didn't talk about it with like Leslie or anything. Like obviously Leslie didn't watch it, but like I don't talk about it with anybody. I just watch it and then I'm just like, okay, here's what I watched. Let's talk about it.
Gotcha.
But yeah, extremely strong recommend, Tyler. I think it's fair to say if the style is not something you can get over, and I know when we watched it, we were both kind of like, I think my tastes and my acceptance of weird styles in anime and shows has changed since then, and I was more willing to give it a shot and the story just hooked me like the whole way through.
That's good.
So I would highly recommend this to anybody as like just a peak anime. I gave season 2 a 9 on Mal and season 3 an 8. And I rarely nothing breaks 10s unless the most special shows come around, but 9 is still an absolutely incredible easy recommend to pretty much anybody for me. And I would definitely label Mob Psycho as one of those.
Hell yeah.
In spite of a slightly weak final season, like the animation is so crazy in some of these fights. And you can tell that this is a show that was loved when they were making it. Like there are shows like I almost said Friedman. Freeran, Violet, like almost anything KyoAni does, but you can feel or Gurren is another great example. Like you can feel that they loved what they were doing. And that really comes through on Mob Psycho, that like this is a project you had to love when you did it. Like I feel like it's also a tell when you watch an OP. Like Mob goes hard on the animations from these. Nothing is reused from the show. They're all their own thing. And that's not always an instant win, but it certainly doesn't hurt the feeling of they care about this show.
So I want to add on to this they care bit. So like everyone knows that this is the same author that did One Punch Man. Original One Punch Man looked ugly and disgusting, and it was a joke series. And then Yusuke Murata comes over and draws the most beautiful fiction manga with the same plot as this really shitty web series by the author One. So One, inspired by how good One Punch Man is doing, says, fine, I'll do a real series. And he does Mob Psycho. The problem is, One is also a dog shit artist. So he's the official artist for for the whole series Mob Psycho, which is just ugly as sin. And then Studio Bones is like, all right, well, there's no nicer looking manga for us to base on. Let's just do our own take on his series.
Yeah.
So all the good looking bits did not come from a manga. This
I'm
is their
sure
reimagining of his.
Yeah, no, that's a great point.
scribble.
That it's even more sign of how much they cared about the source material to really understand it and make it their own. It's an excellent show. Next up, this is just on here for fun. So Val and I have been having fun. I know I was talking about when Tyler played KOTOR, watching him play. I have been playing Jade Empire, another BioWare classic, less classic though. And Val's been watching me play. I've been playing on the TV when we're just chilling. Jade Empire is another BioWare game, just like KOTOR, even more so than KOTOR, where if I won $1 billion, if I won the lottery for $1 billion and I could do anything, I would want a remake of Jade Empire. But whereas KOTOR should just be like, take it and just update the graphics and the gameplay. Don't fuck with the story. Don't fuck with a lot of this stuff. This thing is great package, top to bottom. Jade Empire is like a really good idea that is just executed rough. The almost actiony combat of Jade Empire is not good or deep enough for what they're trying to do. It's literally mash the A button, the video game. Like it is the least depth. It is not complex. It is not very interesting. Like there's style switching, but it's like it means very little. It's not great. The story I made, just like with Fable, I ran D&D based off of Jade Empire once upon a time. That's how much I like the flow of the story. But there's a lot of moments and a lot of character development, especially amongst your party. Unlike in KOTOR, like Tyler, you would probably agree. In KOTOR, you spend a lot of time with your companions.
Yeah.
In Jade Empire, you have a bunch of companions that are interesting on the surface, but they have so much less input on what you're doing, and you can only bring one of them with you at a time, so they just give very little input, and it's like, at most, they have like 3 checkpoints. There's very little dialogue with some of them. It just feels like a very shallow pool of companions. And like the overall story, the pacing is a little weird. Like the ending kind of comes together pretty quickly. But but the idea is like the core of it, of like this Chinese empire thing where it's like this
Jade Empire.
where it's like starting to be like this magic steampunk is always cool. Like there's flyers, there's magic, there's golems, there's all this cool like magic-y tech stuff. And I always like that environment. That's always a cool world to build something in. And the actual story, I still think, has some of the best beats in it out of any game I've played. Probably not as good as, KOTOR's Revelation, but there's some good shit in there that I really like. And I don't know, it's probably also a personal favorite for me, which is part of why which is because I ran it for you guys as a D&D campaign.
Not for me.
Yeah, not for me either.
What? Was that all the way back when it was just Leslie, Val, and Luigi?
Yeah, I joined right
God
after you finished your
damn.
Jade Empire campaign.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's how long ago it was. But yeah, I think there's a lot of raw material here. This is the kind of thing I would want to almost do the Final Fantasy VII remake treatment with instead of...
No, you don't want the Final Fantasy VII remake.
No, I know, where it's
Or
too
do you want
bloated.
the Final Fantasy X remaster?
No, I don't want to...
Which is
I want
extra.
KOTOR to be remastered. I want Jade Empire to be remade. That's the distinction that I'm gonna say.
Gotcha, okay.
Because I think you should just stop if you're trying to rebuild KOTOR with changes to the story and dialogue and companions. I think that's foolish. But Jade Empire, I think, is ripe for that kind of thing, where the pieces are there. It just needs to be built together a lot more cleanly. But it was fun, and Val said she had a good time watching it, and I think she liked seeing the story that she had played all those years ago. Let me race through the rest, because I've been talking a minute. I also, continuing my Back to the Future watches from the podcast during one of my flights recently, I watched Back to the Future Part 3. Still probably my second favorite of probably the second best in my opinion of the Back to the Future movies. I still think 2 is the weakest. But this has one of the most magical moments in film that I will ever have in my entire life. Everything involving the train and the DeLorean is like untouchable perfect cinema to me. I like it, when Doc blows the whistle and goes, "I've wanted to do that all my life." Like I would love to someday blow the whistle on a steam engine because of this movie. I watched this movie so many times when I was a kid just to see the steam train pushing that fucking car. It is like nothing is like that to me. So, and that final bit with the other train is like the coolest fucking thing in history to me. The little kid in me. So I forever peak cinema to me. But this is still one of my favorite trilogies. I'm glad I rewatched it. Back to the Future is still like absolutely it. Like yeah, the time travel is goofy and the rules don't make any sense. But also it's like one of the best time travel stories ever told because they don't take it too seriously. And I'm sure Tyler would disagree, but that's because Tyler hates time travel.
Yeah, I just don't like time travel. It's fucking stupid. Makes no goddamn sense.
Last thing for me, and I'm gonna be quick about this, but I watched as I always do. I watch documentaries from Netflix a lot when I'm traveling. And this time I tried watching Apollo 13 Survival, which was a really cool documentary where it was kind of like what I talked about with the Gene Wilder one and with the Reading Rainbow one. This is made up entirely of archival footage and interviews that were done at the time of Apollo 13.
Oh, wow.
Which is really cool. Here's the thing, though. I didn't super get a lot out of it because it kind of showed me that the movie really did an excellent job of capturing so much of this story. Like it made me, if nothing else, appreciate so much how Apollo 13, the movie, did an excellent job of showing all the major plot beats and conveying the tension and desperation to bring these guys home. Like, it really did an excellent job, and I really didn't see a lot of major discrepancies between the movie and this. So, like, seeing the dramatization of the movie was like, okay, wow, they really did the work on that, and Like, it's worth seeing this. It's cool to see the actual people. But I didn't really gain much from this. It was just cool to see that movie reinforced.
Mm.
But it's still cool if you're interested in Apollo 13. Like I said, it's very fun to be like, yeah, here's the footage. Like, the most they made up was, like, they made a couple of little graphics of it flying around the moon and things like that, like, to show how the shuttle, how, like, the rocket would break up, like, the intentional separation of stages. They added little graphics for that, but really everything else is straight original. So that was really cool. All right, go ahead, Freeman.
I'll say this is probably an endorsement. If you haven't seen the movie Apollo 13, just go watch that.
Yeah.
I watched it again within the last year, and it still definitely holds up.
Yep, and like I said, it holds up for me even more now because of how accurate I can see now that they did.
All right. Sorry, so I'll just jump through my next two real quick. Okay, the second one's not going to be that quick. The first one's quick. So my Monday watch group that watches actual live action shows, we wrapped up Shogun a while back. We couldn't figure out what to do next. We settled on Silo on Apple TV. Now, Tyler, you've already seen this one, right?
Hell yeah, I have.
I think this one's only like 10 episodes. Season 2 is coming out in November, which is why we're trying to watch it now. Because our current tempo, we should finish season 1 by the time the second season drops. I'm 2 episodes into it. I'm very intrigued so far. I asked my manager because she watches like every show that Apple TV releases, and she said she liked the first half but felt the mystery like fell off on the second half. Tyler, do you agree with that?
She's tripping, bro.
All right, cool. I know, Joanna, you're not listening to this, but I didn't say it. Tyler did.
Yeah, she's straight. That's me. It's
all right,
just
cool.
It's only Tyler.
All right, so I was going with tempered expectations, but I'm very intrigued at what's going on so far. The cast so far is pretty cool. I'm sad that certain characters die in the first. Okay, it's not a spoiler. The characters die in the first episodes. I'm very sad that those actors
Jones is still fine.
For real. I'm very upset.
Still fine.
But I'm excited to watch the rest of it. So far, I've enjoyed everything I've seen on Apple TV, so I'm always excited to start something there. But now I get to talk about something I rarely do, which is about finishing a video game. So, on Saturday, I beat Nier Automata. When I jumped into play, I had just finished ending B, and I knew that ending C takes like 8 hours. So I was like, can I do this all in one sitting? And then I rolled around to midnight, and I finished ending C. And at this point, do you guys mind if I do a long-form review of Nier Automata here?
That's fine. I'll take
Go for it.
All right, cool. So you play through the game, the credits roll, and then I talked about this a lot when I got through it, like maybe 4 podcast episodes ago. But like, you get to the end of the game, and the game is like, "Hey, Square Enix here. Please replay the game. It's not actually New Game Plus. Like, you're really not done. Please play the game one more time, even though it says New Game Plus. Like, it's just part 2." And this was the closest I got to experiencing what it's like to play Sonic Adventure 2 again for the first time. You play through story A and you get the hero mode where you know it's a story, but you feel like you're missing something. Then you do Route B, which is the exact same story as A, but from a different perspective, and really starts getting you to ask the question, which is the real story of the game: is can AI become real? Can you imitate humanity through robots? Is the overarching theme of the game. It's not really about this war between robots. It's what does it mean to be alive? And it's very Japanese in the idea that this whole thing is just, I'm going to ask you questions and you, the viewer, should be trying to answer them yourselves. I'm not going to give you an answer. So A and B together tell this, so-and-so story. And by the time you get to ending C, I'm like, please, love of God, don't throw a third character and throw a third perspective. Ending C is very much, if you want to equate it to Sonic Adventure 2, the final story mode where everything converges, stuff you learned in 1 and 2 both matter, and it's a separate plot line that takes place after. And ending C was super fun. So then I go back to ending D, which is the same. It's the same as C, except you just redo the boss fight but pick who you side with differently. And then it jumps into ending E, which is the one that everyone hyped up about the game. And going into E, I like the game. Tyler and I had talked about it a bit, that as much as I love Nier for the creative stuff it does, the fact that you can be Galaga, you can be Asteroids, and you could be a 3D action RPG and have the exact same moveset in all 3 because all the game does is just fuck with your perspective all the time, was really cool. But the problem is, it means that when you're in the 3D action segments, you're kind of beholden to this moveset that has to work from other perspectives. So for an over-the-shoulder action RPG, it's kind of lacking gameplay-wise. Like, it's pretty simple, even though it gets creative with how it uses its simple gameplay. I'd say the appeal of the story is just more with how it fucks with you, the gamer, a lot. So going into the last ending, philosophically, we're at the point where 2 robots who have been hinting that they are gaining sentience gain full-on sentience, just ignore their programming to let you, the character, die. And they're like, we can't give up on the concept of just like androids becoming truly life. We have to do something. We have to launch them into space, get them off this planet, try somewhere else. So at the end of the game, they're trying to launch the data of the main characters out into space, and that's when the credits roll. And I'm like, okay, this is the end of the game. Until I realize this isn't just the credits rolling. I'm controlling a unit that's on screen, and this is the unit that you usually play the bullet hell sequences with. And I realize, oh fuck, the credits are going to be bullet hell. So names start flying down to start killing you. And this is like pretty fucking hard. I make it halfway through this 10-minute credit sequence when I finally die. And I was like, damn it, that sucked. I thought I had it. And the credits are like, do you want to give up? It didn't say, do you want to give up? And in the background, it had a quote from a player, another player in the country they're from, telling me don't give up. So I'm like, all right, I'm not quitting here. I'm not quitting on the fucking ending credits of this game. So I go and I hit continue. And I run through and I make it like 3/4 of the way through. I'm really happy. And then fucking Square Enix's name shows up as one of the enemies on screen, and they're like a mid-boss. And they just cover the screen with bullets, and I'm losing. I'm like, this sucks. So I get murdered. And it shows up again. Do you want to give up? And now there's more player names on screen with more motivational messages telling me to continue. I'm like, you know what, they're starting to hype me up here. So I hit play again. The whole time the ending credit song is playing continuously over this. The ending credit song is a banger. So I'm going. I hit a checkpoint. So now I just have to fight Square Enix as my starting point. And I'm just getting bodied. Like there's no way to get through this level. And then I get to the continue screen. It's like there are other players out there doing just like you do. Do you want some assistance? And I was like, you know what, fine, do it. And then all of a sudden the ending song cuts into this extra level of chorus, and all these other player characters join mine on screen to help me fight the boss. But a couple of them died in the process, and it tells me like so-and-so player's data has been deleted forever as they die during my fight.
Whoa.
And I was like, damn, that was wild. So I get through it. I only lost 2 people helping me out of the because it lets 7 help you at the same time. And I get to the ending, and at the end, it's like every single player who helped you was just like the story characters sending their data off as a last hope. They all deleted their data and sent it somewhere else, hoping it would help someone. They all made the sacrifice for you. Would you like to do the same thing and delete your save data to help another player? And I paused there. I'm like, yeah, dude, they saved me from another like 30 minutes of frustrating bullet hell bullshit. Yes, I'll do it. And it's like, are you sure? Like, you literally just unlocked level replay. You just unlocked all these extra modes you got from the previous ending. Like, we gave you God mode control over the game, free to play and do other stuff. Go check out the DLC. Are you sure you really want to delete everything? And I said, yes. And it's like, you don't even know who these other players are. You've never met them. You may not even agree with them morally. Are you sure? And I was like, fuck yeah, do it. Delete my save.
Wow.
So then the game in this crazy cutscene goes through the menu item by item. It doesn't delete every item, but it goes through like inventory, delete, weapons, delete. And it deletes all the shit you saved up over the game. And then it says, would you like to give a message to help motivate the other players? And it's like, they give you like an option to pick like 4 different sentence fragments to put together, but it includes your name and your country on it. So somewhere
That
out
is
there,
pretty cool.
a player might get a motivational message and help from my username in the final sequence. So I gotta say, even though it was a really jank, weird story sequence, the emotional feeling of saying, do you want this to truly be the ending, to delete it all to help someone else, was of such a unique experience in gaming that I loved it. And I don't know how to put this. Like, this game is a masterpiece, but it's like an 8 out of 10 masterpiece. I've never played a game like this, and I loved the experience. But I'm not going to sit here and pretend it's the greatest game ever made. It was very repetitive gameplay-wise.
Like,
I happen to enjoy it.
That's why I
But-
didn't finish it. I was like, dude, I can't keep playing this like
Yeah.
repetitive ass game.
It also suffers from I don't have a funny catchphrase to use yet, but just like Japanese questioning storytelling, where it's not really here to tell you its story. It's here to more just ask you questions to hope that you enjoy the confusion. Like, it's very much an Evangelion-esque thing where it's just, we're intentionally confusing so you get enjoyment out of trying to figure it out for yourself. Even though I think they did a pretty good job of making it very clear the question of where do you cross the line between AI, robots versus humans and humanity. And I thought the questions they were asking were really cool, and the presentation was stellar. Graphics, for PS4 is phenomenal. I wish there was a PS5 4K upscale for this game. Soundtrack, phenomenal. It's got me actually excited to watch the anime, because I now know that the anime has a different plot line from the game, and it has the dub. So I'm excited because I played this game in English language. So all in all, I very much enjoyed my Nier Automata saga over the last 3 months. And much like I said before starting Nier, I'm now going to play some shorter single-player campaign shooters like Titanfall 2 and Doom before I pick up any other RPGs.
Hell yeah. Well, that's
So,
good.
yeah.
I am glad to I vicariously living that game through you, kind of, because like I kept hearing like crazy shit about it, but I'm like, I don't have the patience right now
Yeah.
to.
It was definitely a creative game. It was not the most fun. Like all right, a minor bashing here. It's a pseudo open world game. They throw a lot of side quests at you in true Friedman fashion. I tried to do as many side quests until I realized I had over leveled where you need to be for the main plot, and none of the boss fights were that challenging after that point. I was just too over leveled from wanting to see all the content because all the side stories had legitimately good world building and character development. So I didn't want to quit any of the side quests, but it ended up making the boss fights trivial, unfortunately, which is the opposite problem of what you're about to talk about, Tyler, right?
Oh, what with Final Fantasy,
Final Fantasy
dude?
7.
Oh boy.
This fucking game sucks. That's all I really wanted to say,
So
honestly.
so so where are you? And has the straw broken the camel's back?
I'm at the end of the game, and so I'll say this: what I'm talking about, so I just finished the date.
The real
All
date?
right, the real date,
Who'd you go on the date with?
Tifa.
Good.
Yeah, the
Very good.
actual the real person, right? Like the not the
Yeah.
real person, the
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 canon.
the person who like you're meant to honestly be with, like in all honesty.
Aerith fanboys are seething right now.
Yo, whatever. Yeah, Aiden's like, oh, no. I'm like, man, like whatever. Anyway, any Hoosers, we going, and the whole thing, like he goes for the hug, and
Wait, you
that
got the
pissed me
hug
off.
ending?
Yeah, wait, you can kiss her?
Yes, you didn't do enough of her side quest to get her at max affection.
Oh
This game
no.
sucks,
You
bro. You
noob!
can't sit here and
You
tell me this.
noob!
Why?
But yeah,
Because why? Honestly, why the fuck would
so
I?
so
Why
every
would
version
I?
every version of the date has like the hug slash hand holding version, and then they also all have a kiss version.
I hate this
Correction,
fucking
sorry.
game.
The Red 13 and Barrett versions don't have kiss versions because you know how Japan is.
Yeah, no gays.
No gays or dogs. Um, but yeah, if you max them out, like do all their side quests, answer everything correctly, like translator's note, you followed a guide, you get the kiss ending.
I'm angry. You know why? Because I wanted to get through this game. Like I'm honestly just so dissatisfied by this game. I'm honestly thinking about DNFing it.
Ooh, you're so close to being done though.
Damn.
Like
I know, but like dude, I
after the
can't.
date, you have like two sequences. You have this boat shit, and then that's it. The Sephiroth fight. No, actually, no. You have the whole Temple of the Ancients. Never mind.
Oh.
Sorry, you still have a good amount of content.
Oh, I know.
The Temple of the Ancients isn't that bad.
Dude, this
Honestly,
game sucks. I
yeah.
don't like
You know
it.
what? I'm gonna walk it back. Even though I just said you should finish it, you still have a lot to go, and if you're legitimately not enjoying it, I don't think anything in the last two chapters is gonna make you suddenly enjoy it.
Yeah, like, and it sucks. But like, I'm 30 hours in, but like, that was like the fucking straw. I was like, I can't do this.
Would you consider watching a Let's Play while doing literally anything else to just so you understand what happens? Because I
Yes.
still really much like you. I mean, you could even just skip ahead to the final boss fight. I want you to experience the weird time fuckery they do with the ending, so we can talk about it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm still gonna like, I'll probably put on like a Let's Play to just like see like the rest of it or whatever. But like, I don't have it. Like that was like one of my only motivations in this game to just like see it. And I was like, this is so fucking lame. And then to learn that like, oh, it's all behind like me having to do all of this extra stuff, which killed like it killed the pacing for me,
Yeah.
right? It kills my experience. Like the fact that like I have to go around and do all this other extra bullshit already. And on top of that, you want me to like pick the right stuff. And it's just
Look,
frustrating. Like
I'll
I'm not gonna go on it about it for the whole night, but like I really dislike this game.
I do not blame you. It's
And it's heartbreaking for me to say because like I like the original game and I like remake. I thought remake was very good. And like I enjoy seeing the characters interact with each other this game. I think some of the set pieces are very good. I think some of the set designs, sky boxes, like character models, they're all fantastic. And it's completely destroyed by the complete disrespect of my time. And I just like I can't do it anymore. Like I have like 35 hours, and this is the first time I probably spent this much. Actually, the last time I spent this much time and I almost DNF'd it was Final Fantasy VIII. Actually, funny enough.
How long ago was this?
Oh god, this was back in like 8th grade,
Oh, okay,
ninth
like
grade.
forever ago.
That was like many lives ago. But like I've like since then though I've never put time into a game like that I didn't finish.
That's wild.
But I'm honestly thinking about doing it this time because like I just can't I can't bring myself to do it.
I don't blame you. I'm past the era of finishing for the sake of completing. Your time is more important.
Yeah,
I
like I
say
would
as I watch
rather
garbage anime.
like I honestly thought about I was like, yo, I could be playing like KOTOR 2 now, or I could be playing like let's see, what's another game on my need to playlist? Dragon Age. Oh, I wanted to play Divinity 2. I wanted to play one of these Need for Speed games.
Oh,
I thought about playing Dawn of War too, but it's like kind of running weird on my computer. Like there's just a number of games. Oh, it's Halloween season, so yearly play of Resident Evil 4. Like that's wild to me. I shouldn't say like if I went back in time and told
yeah.
middle school Tyler like, "Hey, you see this like Star Wars game that like just came out?" And I'm like, "Yeah, like yo, what if I told you that you would like this game way
The
better than a
Fantasy VII
remake of
remake.
this game that
Oh
you
my
just
god.
finished that you absolutely loved?" And I would say you're a fucking liar, and then I would smile at him and just put my arms or like my hands on his shoulder like you have no idea, and then I would just tell fuck off. He'd be so confused.
Amazing.
Like never would I imagine that I would feel that way.
And you
But
still have to
whatever.
play KOTOR 2.
I'm still gonna play KOTOR 2, and I'm gonna have a way. I already know I'm gonna have a way better time. And like it's like I said, it sucks because the everything else in Final Fantasy VII is great, but like it's not enough for me to keep playing the game. Like I was actually talking to my I talked to a bunch of people about this in between talking to you, Friedman, and all of them are very similar. In fact, I just talked to a good friend of mine's uh brother who's like a big Final Fantasy fan, and even he's like, yeah, I still haven't beaten it yet.
It's just too much shit. Like this is gonna sound meme worthy, but like there's this one line I'll never forget that John Turturro says in Transformers One, where like Optimus is blabbing or some shit, and he's like, "Hey, beginning, middle, end, facts, story, details, compress." And that line I always loved. It's like get to the fucking point. And Final Fantasy VII just didn't. It's like
It doesn't.
what else can we do to distract you from the story? Is how they approached it.
What's crazy is that like there's already so much stuff, and it's like if I don't know, what was your final game time, Freeman?
Oh shit! I have to go turn on my PS5 to go find out. It
That's
was
fine. You can
long
tell me later, but I am genuinely curious though
because I
because
spent a shit ton. Like I did all the Queen's Blood games. I did like every side quest. I want to say it had to have been 70 or more.
it has to be 70 or more. Because like I'm on the cusp of 40 hours. I don't like it's probably like a little bit less than that. But like I'm on chapter 12, and mind you, once I got to um oh my god, Big Cannon City. Why am I blanking? You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, Junon.
Junon, yeah, once I got to Junon, I was like, fuck it. Like that's when I decided like I'm gonna just play the game for the story, right? So that's when I decided to like stop.
Well, that was
And you know how
pretty
much
pretty
more
early on.
shit there is. Yeah.
Like the entirety of
That's
Chapter 5 is like, hey, let's do a card game tournament arc.
Yeah, bro. And I'm like, okay. And like, cause it was that made me go like, yeah, this is horseshit. Like, I don't want to do that. So I literally stopped doing it there, right? And I was like, all right. So I continued the game. And the more shit I skip, I was like, yo, I'm literally skipping tens of hours worth of stuff just here. And this isn't even endgame.
God damn.
Like, this is crazy, and it's not like Tim. And it's not like there are any new experiences. Like there might be like some story side quests,
Mm-hmm.
but Freeman will tell you they're inconsequential. They don't add anything to the story. And then there's all these like other like
Jeez.
mild collectathons that are climb this tower, go touch these points, fight these monsters, and it's the
Ugh.
same thing every single fucking like
So
it's as bad as a Ubisoft game. It's worse than a
I'm about
Ubisoft
to make
game.
matters worse here because I realize I played through every side story and met all the random side characters, but so many of the side stories involved characters who were like one-offs from Remake Part 1. And I'm sitting here thinking, if someone skips all the side stories and they go to 3, how many random plot lines are going to use characters who they don't even know because they didn't play the random side stories from 2 that they're inevitably going to reference in 3?
I believe it.
I don't think this is going to be good. This is going to be a disaster.
Oh, it will be a disaster. But you know what? It's fine. Like, I mean, I don't know.
So you know what's funny? This sounds almost like in the Yakuza games. The Yakuza games. I know I keep referencing them, but like the Yakuza games are famous for having tons of side content, like a ludicrous amount of side content. And the side content in those games is like of such varying quality all the time. But at the end, as time goes on, they reference more and more and more of this side content in later games. Like it's like apparently Yakuza, not Infinite Wealth, the one was it Infinite Wealth? The one that was just in Hawaii, not the new one.
Yeah,
Like
that was Infinite Well.
literally they reference all like 15, 20 games worth of history from the last 20 years of the Yakuza franchise. There's references everywhere. But what's there is so entertaining, even if you don't get it, you don't care that you don't get it because it's entertaining on its own. I think that's what you're talking about,
Yeah.
where you guys are talking about, oh, they have all this stuff, but it's not interesting on its own. It's like, oh, look at this callback to this other guy, but it's like, if I didn't care about that guy, then I don't care at all.
Yeah, like there's this one side quest where you have to go into the pit to fight these monsters, but you run into this dude. His name's Leslie. He was one of the random grunts that works at Corneo's facility in Part 1, and he's on his own side story that's inevitably going to get resolved in 3. But like, unless you're doing all the side content, this dude's struggle means nothing.
Yeah.
And I just want to say it's funny you bring up Yakuza because Tyler and I were talking about way earlier on that we think that this game very much was influenced by Yakuza to include all these random
Oh yeah.
side characters and side
yeah.
shit. Like they saw the success of that franchise and said, this is what we can incorporate. And
Dude,
I
they
don't
put in so much stupid shit that just it didn't make sense.
yeah,
It didn't make sense. And like I also feel like they saw Yakuza and they also saw how popular the honeybee scene was in the first game. They're like, we need to make a scene. We need to make every single act of this game have a honeybee scene. I'm like, bro.
they went from having this corny sequence in an otherwise serious game and the contrast made it so funny to the point they had so much of it that just none of it was funny anymore. Like by the time we got to Red 13 doing the Michael Jackson moonwalk in a Shinra soldier costume in chapter 5, like I was already over the comedy and we were in chapter like 5 of 13.
Yeah. Bro, yeah, you know what? I think me talking about this is mild therapy. I think I'm done. I don't think I have it in me anymore.
Wow.
I think me talking about
Entirely
it
understandable.
on here has convinced me to just DNF this game.
That's so
Good.
wild.
Do it. I just want you to get to the ending so I can talk to someone about it though.
That's I will experience the ending at some point, but like yeah, not me. I can't do that. Even Michelle was like, yeah, like I got to the date and she was waiting for the date and she's like, I'd rather be on my spin bike than do this. Ooh. Yeah.
Damn. When a gamer says
Yeah.
they'd rather exercise than play a game, you know something's wrong.
You know something's wrong, right? I was like, damn, all right, shit. And then like she did, I'm like, wow, you know what? I would rather be exercising too, honestly. But you know what I
these are
would
all
rather
very
be doing instead?
Oh
these are
boy.
very base takes.
Fucking playing Space Marine 2, baby.
Hell yeah.
Dude, for the God Emperor. Alright, now this is a game.
All right, I need you to sell me, someone who knows nothing about this game. Sell me this game.
Have you played Gears of War?
Yes.
Did you like Gears of War?
I mean, I played it in high school and I was kind of okay on it. I feel like I'd enjoy it more now.
Because I was gonna say, if you like, and here's the thing, it's gonna be hard for me to sell you on this because I feel like this isn't your kind of game.
Okay,
But
sorry. Sell the figurative me, someone who just doesn't know anything about Warhammer. This game.
Oh God. Yeah, talk about putting stuff on the spot, but like, man,
Sorry.
this game's so fucking cool, man. Like, you get to zip around as a fucking like everything, like everything, like everything that you could possibly think about. Oh, like what a Space Marine is. Like this game just eats 40K.
Yeah.
Like you like everything you've heard about, like this game has it. This game has everything. It's got like the big fucking set pieces. It's got like I don't know where to begin. I feel like I'm hyping this game up, but like it's so fucking fun. The story is garbage. We're not gonna talk about the story. The story is like super like flat, but you don't come here for the story. You come here to this game to put bolter rounds through fucking Xeno scum and the heretics. Okay? That's what you do it for. And it does it very well. Actually, you know what? I have a great way to sell this to you, Friedman, especially. Actually, you know what? If anything, this should convince you to not get it. You know why? Because after I beat this game, I was looking into how much Warhammer 40K figurines cost.
Oh, no!
Oh shit! That's how good it is,
Tyler.
That's how good it is.
The only reason I want you to go down this road is so that I can say, Tyler, well, at least my entire Magic the Gathering deck costs less than that little piece of plastic that you painted right there.
So to compete, right? To compete, and like there are people who are, I'm sure, out there, like, because I've been consuming. These guys know I've been consuming 40K lore for years now at this point. And I never really considered, like, I might have touched it once. This is the first time I actually looked up how much these things cost, because I'm like,
oh boy,
yo, it can't be that bad. It can't be that bad, right? There's no way it's that bad.
Oh.
And I almost threw up because, like, so if you want to compete, like, you can make this kind of inexpensive if you wanted to, like with like small armies, but even then it's like still kind of pricey. But like if you wanted to say like go to a place and be competitive, right? So like you have like you guys have played Battlefield before?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like like tickets, right? Like like your units are tickets basically. Yeah. They probably got that from like Wargaming, right? Like the 40K and any of those other like war games, right? So if you want a what is called like, it goes all the way up to like X amount of points. To be competitive, you want a 2,000 point army. The average for a 2,000 point army is around $800.
All right.
Okay.
Yep. Barrier for entry if you want to get into that kind of shit. And that's not counting like the books and the other bullshit you need to buy. So,
of course,
yeah, fucking Warhammer. But it made me look, and out of all the books that I've read, all the looting that I've listened to, and I even played the first Space Marine, and I really liked it. Did not convince me to even look at pricing.
But now,
no, I'm still not going to. Because like I have
now it's got you curious.
Hobbies. It got me curious. It had my curiosity, but not my interest. So yeah, This is me selling you the game and hoping that maybe you don't, because maybe I'll get you onto another hobby that you don't come off of.
Bro, you realize how hard Gundam got me infected.
Did not realize that would
I
happen.
will ask this question though.
Uh-huh.
I still feel like I know jack shit about the Warhammer universe. Does this game do a good job of teaching you if you don't already know a lot about it?
No, but the best thing about it is you don't have to know.
All right, you know what? That's fine.
Yeah,
I mean,
like
I
so
wouldn't mind playing this someday to do some co-op. That's for
the one thing I will say
Wait, is it
that
co-op campaign?
yeah,
it is.
and a separate co-op campaign, and then the campaign that is
You
single
know
player
what?
or co-op.
And guess what? It's 3 players.
Yep.
Gentlemen,
Yeah.
I think we have our next game.
I mean, I'm down. Listen, I beat this game already. I will play this game. I will happily play this game again and again and again.
And again.
It
And
might
again.
be like honestly the favorite game, like my favorite gameplay game that I have played this year.
Wow.
Yeah. It's definitely top 3. It's between this and Sea of Stars for sure.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Sea of Stars is great. But yes, Space Marine 2. I didn't realize I would talk about it for this long, but yes, Space Marine 2 is the shit.
It's okay.
Oh,
We
what else
only
was I
have
gonna
a
say?
few more things as we're about to hit 2 hours.
Yeah,
All right,
so was it you? So even though you don't need to know much or really anything about Warhammer 40K lore, I am surprised that the game relies pretty heavily on like you possibly playing the first game.
Hmm.
At which point, all you gotta know is that main character blew up or helped blow up a whole planet full of like orcs, and he
Okay.
got thrown in jail for heresy because
Oof.
40K.
Yep.
It wasn't even his fault, but just 40K.
Classic.
And this game takes place X amount of years later.
right, so like it picks up where the last one left off from the same character.
With the same character, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's good. Like I said, don't even pay attention to the story. The story's not there. Just imagine you're just a guy, you're on a planet and you're just shooting shit. That's the like you play Gears of War, right? Like how much of the story do you remember? And then compare that to how much of the actual like game and set pieces and shit blowing up do you remember?
Yeah.
All I remember is that I sawed people in half. I shot a lot of things. It was a lot of fun. Shit blew up. It was great. And the reason why I said, and my last point before I move on, because I've been talking too much. The reason why I say Gears of War is because you might have heard this, Tim, about it. It invoked a feeling of nostalgia in me,
Okay.
where it felt like one of those like high quality like third person shooters back in 360.
Hell yeah, dude.
Like
I've heard it compared to Gears of War a lot of times.
yeah,
Seen footage that just makes it look like Gears of War.
high
Gears of
level
War without cover, but melee.
that is the I would say yeah, that is the high level concept. It's
Yeah,
Gears of War
which is
without
fine.
cover. And I really enjoy it. The game. Definitely makes you. I've never felt, and I've said this before. Like everybody's like, "How is it?" I'm like, I never felt so powerful yet so weak at the same time. Like when you are a space marine, you feel powerful until you get overwhelmed. You're like, wait, what the fuck? Like it is quit. Like this game captures Warhammer 40K so well. Like there's very few things like adaptations that I feel like capture the spirit of something like to a T, and I feel like this just does it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I recommend it. People who are just into action games, I would recommend it. If you guys want to play this co-op, I have no problem just playing the shit out of it all the
Nice.
time. Yeah, I'm down. If you and plus it's short too. Like we could kill the campaign in like a weekend.
All right,
Wow.
we just got to secure some Tim not being a parent time. We can make this happen.
Lol. Well, we could work on some Tuesdays when I'm not when it's not podcast.
True.
All right, let's make this happen. Listeners, comment in the comment section if you exist and
Oh,
want us to
boy.
play this game.
Yeah, if you exist and want to watch us fucking just hear me talk about Warhammer 40K lore during playing this game.
Can't wait for every time something happens.
Yeah.
Tyler, what's that thing?
Well, you see, back in M30, the red helmets mean that they're sergeants. Do you see that seal right there? See, they do have some. No, I'm not gonna keep going on. No, I'm just gonna talk about these movies, rapid fire these movies that I watched. I watched the New Crow. Uh, short short review. It sucked. It's not good. Don't watch it.
Ooh.
You might as well just
Ouch.
watch the original one. It's very strange. This is like one of the few like reviews I've seen on Letterboxd where everybody's thirsty. They all kept saying fucking Bill Skarsgård. They're like, "Oh, I like Bill Skarsgård like covered in blood. I didn't realize how hot that was." I'm like, fucking Christ. Thirsty ass hoes in the comments. Um, but yeah, I don't think it was that great. Um, I watched this movie with Robert Pattinson called Good Time. It's an A24 movie, weirdly enough,
Hmm.
and I
When
actually
did it
liked
come
it.
out?
Funny enough. Would
Was
I
this,
recommend it?
this
Just like
new
every
or?
A24 movie that I've seen, I probably wouldn't recommend it. Uh, it's an urban odyssey, interestingly enough. Um, and I'll say this: I think Robert Pattinson is a good actor. I'll say it right here.
I'll agree with you.
Yeah, yo,
You
dude,
get too much flack
everything
for Twilight.
he did, he really did, and it's unfair. And I think he's really good, and people need to like give him some credit. Because everything I've seen him in so far has been really good. And this
Would you
is
recommend this movie? Given that generally I do like A24 movies that I've seen so far.
actually, you know what? You might like it. You might be into it. I think the concept is interesting. Um, it's literally it's an odyssey,
Okay.
which is like funny. Like I don't like you don't see too many of those like odyssey movies these days. Um, you watched About Time.
Yeah. So my other friends, they were on a kick about wanting to like watch nostalgic movies when we were in high school, and one of them really loved About Time. This was a time traveling British romantic comedy where, for some reason, Rachel McAdams plays the love interest of a time traveler, which is odd that she's done this multiple times. But all in all, it was a pretty good romantic comedy. I was convinced the whole thing was going to be about him time traveling and ruining his current relationship with this woman, but very early on, he gets together with her, and it's less about him using time travel to maintain a romance, and it becomes more about using time travel to maintain like his family. Like there's a part where I don't know if you guys have seen it or you care about spoiling, but like
No, go for it.
his sister gets into a car accident. So he goes back in time to prevent her from getting depressed, getting into an abusive relationship. But he jumps back to the present and finds that because he's manipulated the past, his child is a different child now. Like, the same idea, like different sperm cell, different child. So he has to start contending with the idea that, like, I have a family in the present. I can't be messing with time. And then his dad, who is the other time traveler in his family, eventually gets lung cancer. And he has to make the decision between, like, my wife wants a second child. She doesn't know I'm time traveling. But the second that child is born, I can't go back in time to spend time with my dad anymore because I can't change the past. And it had some interesting conundrums for a time traveling story that wasn't trying to be that deep about it.
Hmm.
So I very much enjoyed it.
Okay. For a time travel movie.
For a time travel movie. Yeah. For a time traveling romantic comedy.
Mm-hmm. This last movie I watched because it's starting to get into some spoopy season. I'm dipping a little early, I guess, though, for my rules.
No,
Don't
Tyler,
tell
I already
Val.
did the what's the other thing?
What?
The movie that I
Oh
movie.
yeah,
we
you watched that movie.
yeah, we
You
already
watched
did that like a
Practical
month.
Magic.
Yeah, we already did that like
Oh
a
my
month
God,
ago, so
Practical
we're
Magic.
fine.
Fucking Well, yeah, but like, look at your wife though. She was gonna make you.
Yeah, but I'm saying
She makes you start spoopy season early.
Yeah, but I already broke the seal on the podcast. I mean,
True. That's true. I guess it's not as bad as if I do it now. But yeah, I watched I watched Terrifier because someone recommended it to me. I don't know if you guys heard about it.
No, I haven't.
It's like your typical it is a slasher format, but this guy is just like, any other slasher film person, except he's very interesting. He doesn't have like one gimmick. The gimmick is that he's a clown, but he'll use like not conventional stuff to kill people, which I think is interesting. But aside from that, it was pretty like generic. I feel like it's one of those movies, if it like, it definitely got like the mood right, right? As in like it was trying to be um an 80s like horror kind of like slasher movie, and it succeeded in the mood and everything else. So yeah, I don't know. This is something that I wouldn't recommend. None of you would like it. It
Yeah.
actually has one of the most gnarliest scenes I have seen in any movie, like
Whoa.
death
Really?
scenes. Yeah, if you want me to tell you guys.
Go for it. I generally can't take too much on-screen violence, or I feel ill. So describe it to me.
Oh yeah, this one would make you feel pretty fucking ill. A lot of this stuff is pretty graphic. Um, what's it called? This is one of the few movies that I've seen where like the main POV character dies,
Whoa.
Ooh,
but she like the killer takes like an interest in her and her friend. So like, but mostly like the main POV character, and he ties her up, and he before he catches up to her, kidnaps her friend, ties her up naked, and then but like hand saws her from like crotch to head
ugh.
in half.
Jeez.
And I was like, whoa, this is some gnarly. I was like, this is the most gnarly shit I've seen in a movie in a hot minute. But yeah, like the movie was okay for what it was. It wasn't bad. Like if you're like into slasher movies, it's actually like pretty solid. There are some better ones out there though, like the first Halloween remake. I thought that movie was really good.
Hmm.
Yeah, but I was like that stuff is something that you guys aren't into. Honestly, I'm not even really into slasher movies. I think they're kind of played out and kind of boring. Like people will watch it for like the shock value of the kills mostly. But I realize I'm more of like an atmosphere guy. Like I'll watch like horror movies just to like feel uncomfortable.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's not what I kind of got from this. I mean, like from any sort of horror movie, like if it's a bad horror movie or schlocky horror movie, I'll just take it as a comedy movie and move on.
I think I don't know. My problem with horror movies is that like when I watch a movie, usually want to resonate with whatever the protagonist's goals or actions are, and more often than not, the POV or protagonist characters in horror movies are either just terrible people or just make awful decisions, and I can't get behind them, and I just become disinterested in them as characters.
No, I believe it, dude. They're like they're shittier. Like a lot, and that's also like what makes them really bad. Like there are some horror movies I think are really good, and I would recommend. I don't know, maybe I should make a short recommendation list next time for like spooky movies. But like, I agree. I like people who are smart. Like that's why I like Aliens so much. I think
Yes.
Aliens is a really good movie. I mean, it also checks all the boxes for me. It's horror in space. Come on. Doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah.
Fucking weird ass aliens with like, acid blood. The main character is smart and resourceful. It's like it's a good movie. Like, and we could get more of that, but I like, and it's that kind of reason that it also turns into a comedy for me. I'm like, well, this is just dumb. Like,
Yeah.
you know. So yeah, that's it. That's all I got.
Last thing before we go, Pal World is already out on PS5.
Oh, it's
Oh
already.
yeah.
just saw on
Did we
Reddit.
not mention that before?
Well, no, we talked about it
Oh, I
coming,
knew it was
but
coming.
it was coming, but they hadn't said it was coming out today. But I just saw on Reddit that it is
Oh,
actually
yeah.
out today.
I think they announced it like at the time of recording or something like that.
It was during
Okay.
the state of play announcement they did
Yeah.
Okay,
say it was coming to PS5, so it may have been like
no, they knew it was. I knew we had talked about it coming. I didn't remember us
Oh,
saying
yeah, I
it
didn't
was
realize
coming
it was actually
today or like within
Yeah.
days of that
given
announcement.
given that the game was fully developed, I'm not even remotely surprised.
No, I'm
but
not either. But I'm just covering it because I wasn't sure we had covered it, and now I've said it is today. So
I appreciate the journalistic integrity. Thank you, Sam.
Yes.
And thank you guys for listening to the TNT podcast. We'll be back hopefully before too long with more wonderful podcast. But
yeah, and horror recommendations.
Horror.
Maybe.
But until next time, my name is Timpedia.
Friedman.
And only Tyler.
And we'll catch you guys next time. Thanks for listening.